Chapter 2163. Do you think that the rules I set before have no effect on you? Or can you pass my special test? Elder Bai asked coldly. Mr. Bai, I'm going to participate in that, you know? Right, Coiling Tiger couldn't say the Hidden House Summit publicly, so he could only hint, and Linny is going too. It doesn't matter if he goes, he's already passed my special test and can ask for leave anytime, and he got full marks in the final exam too. Elder Bai waved his hand and said, but you can't. After school today, come to my office and take the special test. If you can't pass, then just wait to fail. Yes. Right, Coiling Tiger nodded helplessly with a bitter face, but in his heart, he was a bit angry. Why was Linny fine? Linny passed the test? If Linny could pass the test, then he, Right Coiling Tiger, could definitely pass it too. Thinking of this, Right Coiling Tiger regained his confidence. Okay, let's start class. Elder Bai didn't care about Right Coiling Tiger's matter anymore. He opened the textbook and started talking about the course. Right Coiling Tiger sat down gloomily, and the way he looked at Linny became more and more unhappy. Originally, during this Hidden House Summit, they agreed to kill Linny, but in the end they didn't kill Linny, and instead Linny got a lot of great benefits for no reason. Right, young master, Elder Bai seems to be a bit interested in Linny? Yellow Hair said. I can tell, no, I have to work harder. I heard that Elder Bai already took in a closed-door disciple. In this school, if he wants to take in a disciple, then that Linny has some connections, I have to fight for it too. Right, Coiling Tiger said. How about we give Elder Bai some gifts? Purple Hair hesitated and said. Gifts? What gifts? What do you have that can make Elder Bai take a fancy to? It wasn't that you Coiling Tiger hadn't thought of this possibility, but after thinking about it, Boss Bai's meridians were all destroyed, so it was useless to give him anything related to alchemy. Even if he gave him money, he probably wouldn't accept it, so you Coiling Tiger was really in a difficult position. Lin Yi, on the other hand, pushed the notebook back to Xinyan since Boss Bai had started the lecture. Xinyan took the notebook and didn't say anything. She took off her coat and put it on the seat beside her, moving closer to Lin Yi to listen attentively. Lin Yi smiled. The two of them had a tacit understanding now, and Xinyan knew that Lin Yi was back. She wanted to continue her training, so she didn't wait for Lin Yi to say anything. Thank you, Lin Yi said. What? Xinyan looked at Lin Yi strangely but didn't confirm or deny it. She only replied casually before turning her attention back to the class. Lin Yi knew that Xinyan was embarrassed, so he didn't find it too strange. He went into the jade space and started training quickly, but his consciousness was still listening to Boss Bai's lecture. The morning class passed, and what Lin Yi didn't expect was that Xinyan's aura was really miraculous. Lin Yi hadn't been able to stabilize his earth class for the whole night, but after a short while, Lin Yi realized that he had already done so. This miraculous situation made Lin Yi want Xinyan more and more. Of course, Lin Yi was just thinking about it. Xiao Xiao allowed him to find a big wife, and it wasn't like he didn't like Xinyan at all, but this wasn't something that Lin Yi could do alone. It was better to let nature take its course, and it would be too selfish of him to take Xinyan for himself just because of his training. Lin Yi, come with me to my office. Lin Yi was about to say something to Xinyan when Boss Bai stopped him. Okay. Lin Yi nodded and stood up, walking out of the classroom with Boss Bai. Right Coiling Tiger, on the other hand, followed after some hesitation. He wanted to go find Boss Bai as well. It was Boss Bai who told him to do the test, so it was perfectly justifiable. He was also curious as to why Boss Bai was looking for Lin Yi, so he wanted to eavesdrop. Lin Yi noticed that Right Coiling Tiger was following him as soon as he walked out, but he didn't bother with him and went to the biology faculty's office with Boss Bai. I heard that you went to the Hidden Noble House Summit as well? Boss Bai asked. Yes, Boss Bai, sorry for missing so many days of classes. Lin Yi had the right to skip classes, but he couldn't be too arrogant in front of Boss Bai, so he apologized respectfully. It's fine. You passed the test, so you can skip classes whenever you want. This is the rule of Boss Bai's class. Boss Bai waved his hand. Right, I heard that there's a pill refining competition every year in the Hidden Noble House Summit. Did you participate? Man, don't mention this pill refining competition. Lin Yi smiled. The rule this time was to make a level 3 pill, and whoever succeeded would be the winner. But everyone gave up and no one won. Oh? Level 3 pill? Boss Bai paused after hearing Lin Yi's words. Why is it a level 3 pill? Weren't the previous competitions all level 1 pills? Whoever could concoct a first-grade pill would be the winner. If both of them managed to concoct the pill, then the grade of the pill would be compared. If the grade was the same, then the time spent would be compared. I've never heard of concocting a third-grade pill? Back then even I, Boss Bai, couldn't guarantee that I would succeed with every single one of them. Who came up with this rule to compete with third-grade pills? Oh? It can't be? Linny paused. Back in the alchemy competition, Linny already had doubts. Who could make a level 3 pill? But Linny wasn't the one who made the rules, so he didn't look into it. Now that Boss Bai said this, a mocking smile appeared on his face. Could it be that idiot Coiling Tiger thought that I was a great alchemist, so he purposely raised the rules like this, afraid that I would win? There's such a thing? Boss Bai was also dazed for a moment. He asked, so to speak, your alchemy skills have been greatly improved? What improvement? With your method, I can't even condense alchemy fire. Linny smiled bitterly. He took out the mantra for alchemists and the mantra for condensing alchemy fire that Boss Bai gave him before and returned it to Boss Bai. I'll return this mantra to you. Chapter 2164. But I can use other mantras to condense alchemic fire. This was the second time that Linny had talked to Boss Bai privately. It was obvious that Boss Bai thought very highly of him, so Linny didn't hide anything, and told him about the other mantras he knew. Moreover, although Linny knew that Right Coiling Tiger was eavesdropping outside the door, he didn't care. Right now he had basically fallen out with many hidden families, and the fact that Linny was an alchemist wasn't a protective talisman for Linny himself. Moreover, he had already tricked Right Coiling Tiger. Whether it was the competition or the medicine cauldron from before, Linny had already broken through enough. Even if Right Coiling Tiger knew that Linny wasn't an alchemist, he wouldn't be able to do anything to Linny other than regret. Oh? Using other mantras to condense alchemic fire? After hearing Lin Yi's words, Boss Bai suddenly had hope again. Condense alchemic fire for me to see. Lin Yi nodded and condensed a first-grade alchemic fire on his palm, showing it to Boss Bai. First-grade alchemic fire of the yellow level, very good, very pure. After carefully examining the alchemic fire on Lin Yi's hand, Boss Bai exclaimed in surprise, very good, such a pure and stable first-grade alchemic fire, it's almost on par with my peak. Try changing the intensity and temperature of the fire, see? That won't do. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and began to increase the intensity of the alchemic fire, but just as he increased it, the alchemic fire went out without any warning. Went out? Boss Bai frowned, you've tried? Yes, I've always tried. Whether it's changing the intensity or the temperature, as long as there's the slightest change, the alchemic fire will go out. Lin Yi said bitterly. This is the first time that I've encountered such a situation. Let me think. Boss Bai looked at Lin Yi in surprise. He closed his eyes and considered Lin Yi's situation carefully. At this moment, at the door of Boss Bai's office, Right Coiling Tiger was already gnashing his teeth in fury. He slapped his legs and stamped his feet, cursing in his heart. Lin Yi is such a jerk. He doesn't know how to make pills. If I had known that he couldn't make pills, why would he have raised the rule of the alchemy competition to the refinement of third-grade pills? According to the original rules, he, the Right Coiling Tiger, would have been the winner. However, the hidden Right family was afraid of Lin Yi. They were afraid that Lin Yi would win again and make things worse. This made the Right Coiling Tiger extremely regretful. Especially when Right Coiling Tiger heard that Lin Yi couldn't even control a grade 1 alchemic fire, the expression on his face was incomparably wonderful. Only now did he realize that he had fallen into a huge pit. He had been completely played by Lin Yi. Lin Yi wasn't an alchemist at all. He was just an ordinary cultivator who could condense alchemic fire. Being able to condense alchemic fire didn't necessarily mean that he was an alchemist. After all, alchemic fire wasn't that easy to control. However, Right Coiling Tiger was prejudiced. At old Master Tang's birthday banquet, he saw Lin Yi controlling alchemic fire. Moreover, at the summit of the hidden families, Lin Yi didn't even spare a glance at those second-grade pills. All of these made Right Coiling Tiger think that Lin Yi was an alchemist. But who would have thought that Lin Yi was actually a liar? He didn't know how to make pills at all. He was completely bluffing there. I still haven't figured it out. After a while, Boss Bai opened his eyes, shook his head and said, if there must be a problem, then it can only be that the mental cultivation method you practice may conflict with alchemy, or that you don't have the fire and wood attributes in your body, so you don't have the talent for alchemy. Other than that, I really can't think of any other possibilities. So that's how it is. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He didn't have much hope in the first place. After all, Lin Yi also knew that his mental cultivation method was rather special. It was already very good that he could have a cheat in other aspects. If he had the extravagant hope of knowing alchemy, wouldn't he be an all-rounder? My mental cultivation method should be of the extreme yang attribute. It should be inclined towards the fire attribute. After all, my martial arts are also of the fire attribute. The attributes in my body should also be of the fire attribute. Then, could it be that what I lack is the wood attribute? Linny thought for a while and asked. That's not it either. Boss Bai shook his head and denied. A body with a pure fire attribute can also become an alchemist. On the contrary, because of the single attribute of the body, the condensed alchemic fire will be purer, and it will be easier to control. There won't be a situation where the fire will be extinguished just by changing the intensity and temperature like you did. A cultivator with such an attribute will have high attainments in alchemic fire, but they can't become an excellent alchemist. Linny was slightly stunned. A single attribute can also become an alchemist? That's right. But this kind of alchemist has a fatal flaw. Without the wood attribute in their body, they can't sense the state of the elixir in the medicine cauldron at any time. They can't change the intensity and temperature of the alchemic fire according to their feelings. Therefore, this kind of alchemist can only rely on practice to refine some elixirs. Boss Bai said, but even so, the success rate of this kind of alchemist is very low. The elixirs that they can refine are also very low in quality and level. Therefore, many of these alchemists regard alchemy as a sideline and won't delve into it further. After listening to Boss Bai's words, Linny suddenly thought of Han Jingjing. Her attainments in the control of alchemic fire were also extremely high, but her perception was very poor or even no perception at all. Could it be that Han Jingjing was such a person? However, this kind of noob alchemist in Boss Bai's mouth became a nature-defying genius in Han Jingjing's hands. Only a genius girl like Han Jingjing could develop some scientific alchemy methods and make up for her lack of perception through scientific calculations. And after the conversion of the scientific formula, it was even more accurate than the perception. No matter how powerful the perception was, there were times when it was wrong. Unless it was a particularly powerful alchemist with particularly strong divine sense perception, no one would be Han Jingjing's opponent. After thinking through this, Linny also understood why Han Jingjing was so skillful in the control of alchemic fire. However, Han Jingjing actually made up for her shortcomings. Her IQ was really high. Looking at her silly look, he didn't expect that her IQ was not low at all. Could it be that this was the idiotic side of a genius in life that people often said? As everyone knew, there were many geniuses who didn't behave like geniuses in other aspects, but they had amazingly high IQ. Linny thought, could Han Jingjing be one of them? Chapter 2165. Before Boss Bai finished speaking, he was interrupted by Lin Yi. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, "Wait a minute, Mr. Bai, the walls have ears. Wait for me to deal with it and I'll be right back." With that, Lin Yi walked straight to Boss Bai's office, raised his leg and kicked the door. This kick was different from before because there was still some pure qi in it. When Right Coiling Tiger heard Lin Yi say the walls have ears, he knew that Lin Yi was going to kick the door, so he quickly removed the ears on the door and moved a distance away. He sneered in his heart. "Do you think I'm stupid? The same trick is useless against me, Right Coiling Tiger." In the end, what Right Coiling Tiger didn't expect was that although Lin Yi didn't seem to use much strength in this kick, because he used true qi, the iron door made a loud bang, and there were some sound waves resonating. Right Coiling Tiger's eardrums trembled and he fell to the ground dizzily. Fuck. After Right Coiling Tiger fell to the ground, not only did his eardrums hurt, but he was also very depressed. He thought that he would be fine after a distance. Who knew that it would be so strange this time? After Lin Yi kicked the door, he returned to Boss Bai's desk and said, "Okay, it's done. My door, it'll probably be broken after a few more kicks." Boss Bai laughed and said, "Actually, this alchemist's notes were not organized by me, but a set of notes passed down in the Heavenly Elixir sect. Although it's not a street item, it's not top secret either. At least for Right Coiling Tiger, with the relationship between the Right family and the Heavenly Elixir sect, they should have collected it, so there's no need to hide it from him." It's better to hide it." Lin Yi blinked his eyes and his heart moved. This time he didn't know if Right Coiling Tiger would be fooled. "You cheated him of 2 medicine cauldrons before, and you want to cheat him again this time?" Boss Bai smiled and asked. "Oh, Master Bai, you already know?" Lin Yi smiled bitterly, not expecting that Boss Bai knew those things so well. "I know a little. But it's fine. See if you can trick him more this time." Boss Bai said, "I'll cooperate with you." Lin Yi's eyes widened and he looked at Boss Bai in surprise. He didn't expect Boss Bai to say such a thing. Was he going to help him trap the Right Coiling Tiger? "I don't really like the Hidden You family, but I do like you. Who else should I help if not you?" Boss Bai chuckled. Don't think I'm so old-fashioned. You are indeed not old-fashioned. Lin Yi recalled Boss Bai's style in the class recently. He was indeed not an old-fashioned person, but he was just a bit domineering. This is an alchemist's insight notebook. Study it properly when you get back. This information is different from the elementary mental cultivation method from last time. This is a very precious thing. Don't show it to others. Boss Bai suddenly raised his voice and said, try to comprehend it from here and see if you can find the reason for you. Right Coiling Tiger just got up from the ground at this time and put his ear on the door. When he heard Boss Bai's words he was shocked. It was indeed a good thing. No wonder Lin Yi was so cautious and kicked the door. I almost missed it. And through Boss Bai's words, Right Coiling Tiger also confirmed that it was not Lin Yi who tricked him before, but Boss Bai did give him an ordinary elementary alchemist cultivation method. He was so eager to ask for it, it would be strange if Lin Yi didn't lie to him. Lin Yi in the office was a little surprised and looked at Boss Bai strangely. Lin Yi could detect the slight changes in the office door and knew that Right Coiling Tiger was eavesdropping, but how did Boss Bai detect it? After all, he was a useless person with broken meridians. Seeing Lin Yi's confusion, Boss Bai turned the computer LCD screen on the table to face Lin Yi, pointed at the screen and smiled without saying a word. Lin Yi looked at the computer screen and suddenly realized that on the computer screen, it was actually the surveillance image of the corridor outside the office. Right Coiling Tiger was clearly eavesdropping on the image. Okay, this time I won't show it to anyone. Lin Yi nodded and said. However, Lin Yi planned to let Han Jingjing take a look at this information when he went back. As an ancient sect that specialized in alchemy, the Heavenly Elixir sect naturally had its unique features. Han Jingjing might learn something from it, but Lin Yi's desire to learn alchemy had faded a lot. If it was in the past, Lin Yi might be very anxious and try to figure out the reason why he couldn't make alchemy. But now, with a genius like Han Jingjing by his side, he was not too worried. As long as Lin Yi improved his strength and helped Han Jingjing improve her strength, then it should not be a big problem for Han Jingjing to make a third-grade alchemy pill. Okay, there's nothing else. You go back to eat. I have an appointment with Right Coiling Tiger. I think he has already arrived. You kicked the door before because of him, right? Boss Bai began to say some high-sounding words. I don't care if you have conflicts with him in private, but in school and in my class, you'd better keep it down. Don't let me catch any dirt on you. Otherwise I'll expel you. Yes. Lin Yi looked at Boss Bai's smiling face and said serious words, and also found it very funny, but he still pretended to be serious and said, Don't worry Boss Bai, I won't do anything to Right Coiling Tiger. That's good. Boss Bai nodded. He said this to warn Right Coiling Tiger not to look for trouble after suffering a loss, not to warn Lin Yi. By the way Boss Bai, I have another question. Lin Yi wanted to turn around and leave, but he suddenly remembered Han Jingjing's alchemy in the morning, so he asked, Have you heard of the situation where several medicinal materials are put together to make alchemy pills? Why do you suddenly ask about this? Boss Bai was slightly stunned when he heard Lin Yi's question. I have seen it in an anecdote. It seems that there is such a situation? Lin Yi did not say anything about Han Jingjing. Yes, this can really be done in ancient times. In a furnace, multiple materials can be refined at the same time. Not only can they be successfully refined at the same time, but if they are lucky there may be one or two or even more elixirs. Boss Bai said, however, that can only happen when one has reached a terrifying level of mastery in the fire and wood attributes. Chapter 2166. So this way, if you want to make multiple elixirs at the same time, you have to keep using your divine sense to feel the changes in the cauldron. That's the only way to succeed, so there really is. Lin Yi heard Bai Boss' words and was very shocked. Han Jingjing didn't seem to have any wood element perception at all, but she didn't need any. Everything was calculated with scientific formulas, and it was even more accurate than perception. It's just that the pill recipe for refining multiple pills has not been passed down. After all, the time, temperature, and intensity required to refine 2, 3, 4, and so on are all different. If it were recorded as a pill recipe, it would be ever-changing. Bai Boss explained, plus, those who can make multiple elixirs are all master-level elixirs. Back then, elixirs above mystic class were everywhere, not as rare as now. Even the former miracle doctor Zhang Liju, my ancestor, didn't reach this level. Thank you for your explanation, Bai Lao. Lin Yi said, then I'll be leaving first. Go back and take a good look. When you're done, return the files to me. Bai Lao said. Okay, Bai Lao. After speaking, Lin Yi left the office respectfully. He opened the door and saw Right Coiling Tiger, who had hurriedly dodged to the side. He smiled coldly, so someone was eavesdropping. But how did you feel about that kick just now, Master Right? Did it feel good? Lin Yi, what are you talking about? What do you mean good? I just came, I don't know what you mean. Right Coiling Tiger pretended not to know and said, huh? Lin Yi, what's that in your hand? Is it good information? Oh, it's not good information. Didn't I give it to you last time? Lin Yi said calmly, and you said you were tricked, that I tricked you. So, it's the information from last time? Right Coiling Tiger felt disdain in his heart, but his expression did not change. I didn't see it clearly last time. Let me see it again? What are you looking at? Boss Bai is waiting for you in his office. Hurry up. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Boss Bai's exam is very difficult. Lin Yi said. Don't change the subject. Boss Bai asked me to go after school. I can come back at night. It's more important to read the files first. The more Right Coiling Tiger listened to Lin Yi's calm words, the more certain he was that Lin Yi had obtained good information this time. Because Lin Yi was neither pretentious nor pretentious, and he didn't take the initiative to exchange anything with him. Instead, he lied to him and said that it was the information from last time. Therefore, Right Coiling Tiger's interest was immediately aroused. Dream on. Lin Yi's face turned cold this time. He held the documents behind him and said, I gave it to you last time, but you didn't read it. It's impossible for you to read it again. You went to a bookstore to rent a book, but you still want to borrow it for free after you return it? Do you think that's possible? This? Right Coiling Tiger wanted to say, how could this be the same? But thinking about it, it was really the same and he couldn't refute it. Okay, I'm leaving. I still have to eat. Goodbye. Lin Yi turned around and strode away. Humph, you want to lie to me, Right Coiling Tiger? It's not that easy. I heard it. It's obviously in alchemist's notes. Do you think I'm deaf? Right Coiling Tiger frowned and thought about how he could trick Lin Yi into giving him the information in his hands. Because he had heard Boss Bai say before that this information was very precious and it was best not to show it to others. This made Right Coiling Tiger even more certain that what Boss Bai gave Lin Yi this time was the essence of his life, the alchemist's notes. Right Coiling Tiger, what are you standing at the door for? Come in. Boss Bai's majestic voice sounded. Right Coiling Tiger turned around and found that the office door was not closed. He was a little annoyed. This Lin Yi must have done it on purpose to make a fool of himself in front of Boss Bai. Mr. Bai, I don't dare to come in. Yes, I'm a little scared. Right Coiling Tiger thought for a moment and said, just now Lin Yi threatened me saying that your exam is very difficult, so I kind of want to back out. If you want to back out, just drop out. I'll go handle the procedures for you. Boss Bai said lightly. Oh, about this I'd better not. I'm taking the exam. I'm taking the exam now. Right Coiling Tiger said quickly. Okay, since it's an exam there are 2 questions. 1 question, distinguish all the medicinal herbs in here and write down the names of these medicinal herbs by category. Boss Bai took out a small box from the cabinet in the office and put it on the table. Right Coiling Tiger took a look at the box and cold sweat appeared on his forehead. There were at least 20 to 30 kinds of medicinal herbs in the box. If these medicinal herbs were of the same kind, Right Coiling Tiger could still do it. But he couldn't recognize all of them. With a glance, there were at least 3 or 4 kinds of medicinal herbs that he didn't know. What about the last question? Right Coiling Tiger asked with a bitter smile. Analyze the ingredients in this medicine. Boss Bai took out a box of Dr. Kang's 100 Pain Relief from the drawer in the office and threw it to Right Coiling Tiger. Right Coiling Tiger saw the words, Dr. Kang's 100 Pain Relief, and his eyes suddenly lit up. He was familiar with this. This formula was given by the Hidden Kong family. At that time, Right Coiling Tiger even handled it, so Right Coiling Tiger knew the ingredients inside clearly. Mr. Bai, what if I only complete one of the questions? Right Coiling Tiger asked carefully. If you only complete one, then you can't ask for leave at any time, and you have to take the final exam. But this time I'll forget about it. In fact, Boss Bai just wanted to give Right Coiling Tiger a warning. He didn't really want to fire him. After all, Right Coiling Tiger also came in because of his reputation. Although Boss Bai didn't care about anyone's reputation, this was the principal's personal greeting, so Boss Bai couldn't be stubborn. Okay. Right Coiling Tiger was already very happy to have such a result. He quickly picked up the Dr. Kang's 100 Pain Relief, opened it, and pretended to study it attentively for a long time before saying, there are Panax Noto Ginseng, Notopterygium Noto Ginseng, Peonia peony Wei Ling Xian. But the most important ones are aminopyrine and caffeine. Not bad. You're right. Boss Bai nodded and said, it's just that I don't know who made this prescription. It's so wicked. It clearly says that it's a herbal preparation, but it adds chemical ingredients. It says that there are no side effects, but there are side effects of aminopyrine and caffeine. Chapter 2167. Boss Bai, on the other hand, couldn't have guessed that the question he asked Tiger Yu was actually giving him free marks. Lin Yi had already told him the formula of Miracle Dr. Kang's 100 pain reliever at the press conference of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, and as long as Tiger Yu paid some attention, he'd be able to answer correctly. Yes, this is indeed a little immoral. These herbs do have the effect of promoting blood circulation and removing blood stasis, but with the addition of aminopyrine and caffeine, the effect will be significantly improved. So this medicine can't be said to be a scam. It just hides some facts, Yu Panhu said. It seems like your foundation is quite solid. I'll let this go, but next time you're not allowed to skip class. Boss Bai said, if you want to ask for a leave, you have to give me a reasonable reason and tell me in advance. Yes, Mr. Bai, I understand, Coiling Tiger Right said respectfully. Alright, go eat. Boss Bai waved his hand. Right, Mr. Bai, did you look for Lin Yi to take him in as a disciple? Coiling Tiger Right asked carefully. What does that have to do with you? Boss Bai asked indifferently. It's like this. That Lin Yi doesn't seem to know how to make pills? Coiling Tiger Right hesitated and asked. Why? Boss Bai didn't deny it. Nothing, Mr. Bai. If you want a disciple, character is very important. Coiling Tiger Right lowered his voice and said, Mr. Bai, that Lin Yi's character is a bit problematic. What's wrong with his character? Boss Bai paused and looked at Coiling Tiger Right with interest. That Lin Yi is actually an alchemist, but he lied to you and said he doesn't know how to control alchemy fire. Coiling Tiger Right said, back then he publicly said on many occasions that he was an alchemist. Also, at this hidden noble house summit, if the bet was some pills, Lin Yi wouldn't want them or use them to exchange for other treasures. If he wasn't an alchemist, why wouldn't he want those pills? Pills are so precious, but he didn't want them. This can only mean that he doesn't lack pills. He's an alchemist. Oh? How do you know that he lied to me and said that he couldn't control his alchemic fire? Boss Bai looked at Tiger Right in confusion. Actually, I was just eavesdropping at the door. Right Coiling Tiger was stunned, but he still admitted it, and he simply said, in fact, Lin Yi's purpose is to cheat you of your alchemist's notes. Your good information is generally not easily shown to others, but he used the excuse of not knowing how to refine pills to gain sympathy. Oh, I was going to show him the alchemist's notes anyway. Is there anything else? Boss Bai asked. This is all? Panhu Right looked at Boss Bai's indifferent look. Although he was very unwilling in his heart, there was no way. Boss Bai didn't seem to care at all, so what else could he say? He could only say resentfully, then I'll take my leave, let's go. Don't forget to close the door when you go out. There's no one at the door this time. Boss Bai said lightly, but it made Right Coiling Tiger's face turn red. He was afraid that Lin Yi would also eavesdrop, so when he entered the office he didn't close the door. This was also the reason why he dared to slander Lin Yi behind his back. Otherwise, at the Hidden Family Summit, Right Coiling Tiger already knew that Lin Yi was a powerful character. It was better not to provoke such a person, at least not someone that Right Coiling Tiger could afford to provoke. Even his old man Right didn't dare to face Lin Yi alone, let alone alone. He didn't even dare to encircle and kill him together with old man Tang. What else could Right Coiling Tiger dare to say? After leaving Boss Bai's office, although Right Coiling Tiger was a little depressed, he also understood one thing, and that was that the information in Lin Yi's hands was indeed the alchemist's notes. This time, Right Coiling Tiger was even more determined to get the information to take a look. Last time he was tricked by Lin Yi, but this time, it wouldn't happen again. Boss Bai had personally admitted that it was the alchemist's notes, so how could it be wrong? And looking at Lin Yi's unnatural look just now, it was probably something good, so Right Coiling Tiger decided to carefully calculate what price he could use to exchange for the alchemist's notes. Lin Yi didn't have the desire to eavesdrop at all. He directly took Boss Bai's information, went to the cafeteria to buy a boxed lunch and returned to the dormitory. Bai Weituo was chatting on the computer, and when he saw Lin Yi come back he said excitedly, "Big brother Lin, long time no see, I have good news to tell you." Good news? What good news? Lin Yi sat in his seat and opened the boxed lunch to eat. Although he didn't need to eat if he didn't eat, life seemed to be missing something and Linny was not used to it. Hehe, in the days when you were not here, through my unremitting efforts, I finally got Himeiwa's QQ number. We are chatting well now, and Himeiwa finally agreed to my invitation to go to the movies with me tonight. Bai Weituo said happily. Oh, congratulations. Lin Yi's impression of Himeiwa wasn't very good, but Bai Weituo liked it, so he didn't dispel Bai Weituo's enthusiasm. Wait, big brother Lin, I haven't finished speaking yet. Although Himeiwa agreed, she doesn't want to go with me alone. She said that she wants me to bring you and Xi and Yanzi, or Zhao Xingji and Chai Xiaoling. Bai Weituo said. Then you let Xingji go. Lin Yi suddenly realized that Zhao Xingji wasn't in the dormitory. Where did the fatty go? Don't mention it. The morning before yesterday we went to class. The floor of the dormitory building had just been wiped. When Zhao Xingji went downstairs he accidentally slipped down. He was too fat and broke his sternum. He is lying in the school hospital. Bai Weituo said depressingly, Chai Xiaoling is nursing him there. Lin Yi was a little speechless. It wasn't a big deal for ordinary people to fall, but when he fell, his bones were crushed by his own weight. However, Lin Yi immediately frowned because the place where Zhao Xingji's fracture was a bit strange. Sternum? It was possible to say that his arm or leg was crushed, but his sternum was crushed? Why did it feel a little awkward? How difficult of a fall was that? Especially when going downstairs, according to the center of gravity, the fall should be the whole person falling backwards. It was impossible to crush the sternum. Weituo, what the hell is going on? Zhao Xingji's bones? I'm afraid it's not as simple as breaking, right? Lin Yi frowned and asked. Chapter 2168. Chai Xiaoling also had the same intention. They agreed not to tell Lin Yi because Lin Yi was a very loyal person. It was impossible for him to ignore this kind of thing. However, they were afraid that Lin Yi would get into trouble again if he interfered in this matter, so they made up such a reason. They didn't expect the loophole in this reason to be noticed by Lin Yi. Bai Weituo thought about it carefully and also found the loophole in it. Although he came from a medical family, he wasn't a detective. He didn't have much contact with treating injuries, so he made such a low-level mistake. He fell down on his stomach? Bai Weituo said. Fell down on his stomach? Why don't you fall down on your stomach for me to see? Head down. No concussion, only a broken sternum? Lin Yi said, what the hell happened? I knew I couldn't hide it from brother Lin. Bai Weituo said helplessly, when we freshmen enter the school, every year there will be senior students coming to the dormitory to sell some things. This is the so-called seniors helping juniors, but in fact, it's forced buying and selling. This is the unspoken rule of our school for many years. In fact, there are some small gangs in the school, and these seniors who are selling things are members of this small gang. They come to the freshman dormitory to sell things. Everyone is forced to buy. If I was in the dormitory at that time, I definitely wouldn't let Zhao Xingji be impulsive. But at that time only Zhao Xingji and Song Xiaodao were there. The two of them didn't buy it, but the students who came to sell forced them to buy it. They were pressured and had to buy it. But after that, Zhao Xingji went to the school student office to report these people. So, the school dealt with these people and recorded a demerit. The school didn't know about this before? Lin Yi frowned. I know, but if the people don't report it, the officials won't investigate it. After all, there are some small businesses in the school. It's just that the school leaders didn't know that they went too far. This time they caught the example. Bai Weituo said. What does that have to do with Zhao Xingji's injury? Did they come back for revenge after that? Lin Yi asked. They didn't come. After all, no one dared to go against the wind and commit a crime, but their group came. They were from the school's boxing club. At that time, Zhao Xingji wasn't in the dormitory, so they beat Zhao Xingji up and broke his ribs. Bai Weituo smiled bitterly. The boxing club's boss is Li Biaohan. He's a very famous person in the school, and I heard that he has a lot of power outside the school. The boxing club is basically a small gang, and the members are all hoodlums. Li Biaohan? I understand. Let's go see Zhao Xingji first and then let Zhao Xingji decide how to deal with this guy. Lin Yi said. Big brother Lin, we can look at Zhao Xingji, but let's forget about finding trouble with Li Biaohan. Bai Weituo smiled bitterly. I've been in this school for so many years, and I still have some understanding of this Li Biaohan. He's very good at martial arts and most people aren't his opponent. Oh, it's okay. I'm not an ordinary person. Lin Yi said indifferently. Sweat, big brother Lin, I know you're better. You're not even afraid of lions and tigers, but that Li Biaohan. How do I say it? Bai Weituo was a little embarrassed. My grandfather used to be an alchemist and he came into contact with a lot of things. Have you heard of a swordsman? I've heard of it. Lin Yi nodded. Bai Weituo was a little surprised. He didn't expect Lin Yi to have heard of a swordsman. Then it was easy for him to explain. That Li Biaohan is a swordsman. It's better if we don't provoke him. Otherwise there won't be any benefits. Anyway, Zhao Xingji got a blessing in disguise this time. He confirmed his relationship with Chai Shaoling. That's a different thing. We can't just let it go. Lin Yi said, let's go. Let's go see Zhao Xingji first. I know a little about medicine. I can help him recover faster. All right. Bai Weituo had no choice but to accompany Lin Yi to the school hospital. Sure enough, what Bai Weituo said was right. Although Zhao Xingji was lying on the hospital bed, Chai Shaoling was by his side and he looked happy. Xingji, big brother Lin is here to see you. Bai Weituo pushed open the door and shouted loudly, Boss, you're here. When Zhao Xingji saw Lin Yi, he smiled. It seemed that he was immersed in the happiness of being in love. He didn't even care about being beaten up. Xingji, how is it? Are all the bones connected? Lin Yi asked with a smile. And they're all connected. They're young and almost healed. They can go back in a few days. Zhao Xingji chuckled. Let me take a look for you. Lin Yi said. Boss, you can see a doctor. Oh yes, Weituo said before that his grandfather was cured by you. You're good at medicine, then you can take a look for me. Zhao Xingji didn't doubt Lin Yi and said directly. Lin Yi's medical skills weren't a secret, so he didn't need to hide it from Zhao Xingji and others. Moreover, these people were all on his side, so Lin Yi wouldn't hide it. However, when Lin Yi treated Zhao Xingji, he still used the method of silver needles to help Zhao Xingji heal, and didn't directly transfer true qi. In the end, Lin Yi applied some medicine to Zhao Xingji. This was the treatment Lin Yi used before entering the space of the Jade Pendant and discovering that the art of dragon mastery could heal injuries. Lin Yi didn't use true qi to completely heal Zhao Xingji, but left a small gap. However, with this herb on him, he would definitely be healed tomorrow. At that time, everyone wouldn't think too much and would only think that Lin Yi's herbs were magical. Boss, this herb is different when applied to the body. It's very comfortable. It seems that the injury is half healed in an instant. Zhao Xingji said. It's good that it's effective. Lin Yi nodded. Well, you should be able to get up and walk around now. Let's go find that Li Biaohan to settle the score. Ah? Find Li Biaohan? Zhao Xingji was stunned. He hurt you. Who else can we find if not him? You don't want to just let it go, do you? Lin Yi had always been like this. He was very protective. If his friends and family were hurt or cheated, he would take revenge. Boss, let's just forget it. I'm fine now. Zhao Xingji was originally very angry, but after hearing Bai Weituo talk about Li Biaohan's power, he gave up. He came to university to study and date. He didn't want to cause trouble. If he provoked Li Biaohan, he might not have a good life in the future. Chapter 2169. Zhao Xingji was stunned. He wanted to say, so what if I'm not willing? But he suddenly thought of Chai Shaoling beside him. He was too weak. Would Chai Shaoling look down on him? Thinking of this, Zhao Xingji said, I'm not willing, bro. It's just that two fists can't fight against four hands. That Li Biaohan is not only powerful, but he also has many underlings. If we go, we can only be beaten. I think we have to plan before we act. There's no need to plan. Just find that Li Biaohan. I'll help you break his ribs and then ask him for a sum of money. Lin Yi said, if you don't go, I'll go myself. Okay, then let's go. Zhao Xingji saw that Lin Yi was helping him. If he still didn't go, he would really be a coward. Thinking of this, he gritted his teeth and jumped out of bed. Indeed, he found that his bones were much better. Except for some faint pain, it seemed that there was nothing else. Then I'll go too. Bai Weituo sighed. Now that things had come to this, if he didn't go, wouldn't he be a coward too? Chai Shaoling was calm. Lin Yi, are you confident about this matter? If you're not confident, let the school solve it. Do you think I will harm them? Lin Yi asked. You won't. Chai Shaoling thought about it. All along, Lin Yi had been helping his brothers in the dormitory. He definitely wouldn't harm them. Moreover, every time Lin Yi did something, he had a plan. Just like the drinking competition with Bai Weituo before, and then in the Lion and Tiger Park, he helped Bai Weituo to let Zhang Duopan and Fan Ganhe be bitten by lions. Although Chai Shaoling didn't know how Lin Yi did it, it showed that Lin Yi wasn't a reckless person. If that's the case, then let's go. Lin Yi said and walked out of the ward. At this time, all the doctors had gone for lunch, so there was no one else. Otherwise, if they saw Zhao Xingji leaving the hospital, they would definitely ask about him. The only person on duty didn't even know Zhao Xingji. Since it was decided, Bai Weitua didn't say anything else. He brought Lin Yi to the boxing club's headquarters. However, it wasn't time for the boxing club to be active. There was no one else in the boxing club except for two underlings who were practicing. Who are you looking for? Are you here to sign up? These two lackeys were the lowest-ranking lackeys. They were freshmen this year and had just joined the boxing club, so they were in charge of recruiting new members. Where's Li Biaohan? Lin Yi didn't have time to talk nonsense with them. President Li isn't here. What's the matter? One of the lackeys stopped practicing. Hearing Lin Yi's unfriendly tone, he frowned and walked over. Give him a call and tell him that someone is looking for trouble. Lin Yi was not in the mood to chat with a little brother. So you guys are here to sweep the field. The lackey finally understood the purpose of Lin Yi's visit. Sweep the field. Li Biaohan doesn't have that much influence. This field isn't worth it. I don't have time to waste with you. Hurry up and call him. Lin Yi waved his hand impatiently. The lackey glanced at Lin Yi, Zhao Xingji, and Bai Weitua. Chai Xiaoling was a girl, so he automatically ignored her. He and the other guy were new members of the boxing club, so their skills weren't that great. 2 against 3 wasn't much of an advantage. Therefore, he hesitated for a moment before a cold glint flashed across his eyes. Then wait. He didn't have Li Biaohan's phone number, nor was he qualified to have it. He was only a newcomer in the boxing club, but he had the phone number of the boxing club's vice president. Hello. Is this Brother Gao? I'm Little Six from the boxing club. Someone is sweeping the field. Yes, 3 people. The lackey ran to the corner and called the boxing club's vice president, Gao Lutong. Li Biaohan actually rarely came to the boxing club, so the affairs here were all decided by Gao Lutong, the vice president. Although the lackey was far away from Lin Yi still heard what the lackey said. When he heard that the lackey was calling a vice president, there was a hint of mockery at the corner of his mouth, but he didn't expose him. Lin Yi had a rough idea of what was going on. A small character like this would be lucky to have a vice president's phone number. The president probably wouldn't be able to reach him, but that didn't matter. He just asked the vice president to call Li Biaohan over. Boss, Bai Weitua was a little guilty. Do we need to talk to my grandpa? Let the school step in? My grandpa still has a say in the school. No need. Lin Yi said, if you go to the school they will think that you are afraid of them. They will take revenge on you later. The most direct way is to break their boss's ribs and make him pay. They won't dare to do it again. Bai Weitua smiled bitterly. If Li Biaohan was so easy to deal with, he wouldn't have been able to run amok in the school for so many years. Not long after, Gao Lutong appeared at the entrance of the boxing club with 4 burly men. Before he walked in he shouted loudly, "Who has the guts to be so arrogant in the boxing club? Don't you want to live anymore? No one is arrogant here. You are the one who is arrogant. Don't you want to live anymore?" Lin Yi looked at the person as if he was looking at an idiot. What do you mean? Gao Lutong was stunned. He didn't understand what Lin Yi meant. However, Bai Weitua and Zhao Xingji understood and laughed secretly. Chai Xiaoling couldn't help but laugh too. However, when Zhao Xingji saw Gao Lutong's face clearly, his expression suddenly froze. The person who took the lead to beat him up was this Gao Lutong, Vice President Gao. Brother Gao, what he means is that you were the only one who was arrogant just now, so you said that you don't want to live anymore. One of Gao Lutong's smarter underlings quickly explained. Damn, you're playing word games with me? Gao Lutong was furious after hearing that. He pointed at Lin Yi and said, "Kid, after so many years, no one has dared to come to the boxing club to challenge us. I think you're really a weirdo." Word games? That's because your IQ is too low. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. Get that President Li Biaohan of yours here, said Lin Yi impatiently. Get Brother Biaohan? Are you worthy? Gao Lutong looked at Lin Yi and the others mockingly. His eyes suddenly fell on Zhao Xingji and he was a little surprised. It's you? Brat, so you're saying that you're here to take revenge? Although Zhao Xingji was a little afraid, he couldn't hide since he was recognized. He could only bite the bullet and say, "Yes, my boss brought me here to challenge us." Chapter 2170. Last time, when he brought people to beat up Zhao Xingji, he only used some dirty tricks and broke Zhao Xingji's sternum. It was not because of the saying, "Don't hit people in the face," but because they were in the dormitory and they did not want to go overboard. But this time, Zhao Xingji took the initiative to come to the boxing club to challenge them, so he naturally did not care. In these martial arts clubs, there were actually some recognized unspoken rules, which were challenges and challenges. For example, if you were from the Taekwondo club and did not like the boxing club, you could come and challenge them or bring people to challenge them. When two sides fought in the club's arena, even if they hurt each other, the school would not look into it. As long as no lives were lost, they would not interfere. After all, this was the unspoken rule of martial arts clubs. Of course, some stronger students who thought they were strong could also come to these martial arts clubs to challenge them. If they won, they would become famous and their popularity and status in school would increase. There would also be beauties throwing themselves at them. If they lost and got hurt, it was because they were not capable and they could not go to the school to seek justice. So this was also the reason why Gao Lutong was not afraid in his own territory. Even if he beat up the people in front of him, it was because they were not strong enough. After all, they were the ones who took the initiative to challenge him. He already had a problem with Zhao Xingji, so this time, Gao Lutong did not show any mercy and was very ruthless. Gao Lutong was the vice president of the boxing club, and his boxing skills were even better. Usually he could leave a fist mark on a steel plate with just one punch. If this punch hit Zhao Xingji's head, without a doubt, even if Zhao Xingji did not faint on the spot, he would definitely have a concussion. Zhao Xingji looked at the huge fist coming at him and was stunned for a moment. Plus, his sternum injury had not healed, and his mobility was seriously affected. When he wanted to dodge, Gao Lutong's fist was less than 5 centimeters away from him, and it was too late even if he wanted to dodge. Zhao Xingji subconsciously closed his eyes in fear, thinking to himself that it was over. He had just been discharged from the hospital, and now he had to go in again. But fortunately, the only consolation was that in the hospital, Chai Shaoling would still be with him. However, after a few seconds, Zhao Xingji was surprised to find that his head did not seem to have been hit, which was a little unbelievable. When he closed his eyes, the fist was already right in front of him, but a few seconds had passed and it still did not hit him. Subconsciously, Zhao Xingji opened his eyes in confusion. What surprised him was that Gao Lutong's fist was still in front of him, but it had stopped. It was suspended in mid-air, looking very unnatural. However, when Zhao Xingji looked carefully, he found that Gao Lutong's fist had not stopped by himself, but his arm had been grabbed by someone. The person who grabbed Lutong was Lin Yi. The person. Since he was not hit, Zhao Xingji was suddenly surprised and happy. He subconsciously dodged to the side, but he saw that Lin Yi seemed to be very relaxed. In contrast, Gao Lutong's face was red, and it seemed that he had used all his strength. There were also beads of sweat on his forehead. Zhao Xingji was right. Gao Lutong did use all his strength because he found that after his arm was grabbed by Lin Yi, he could not move forward at all. What was even more depressing was that he could not take it back. Of course, this wasn't the worst. It wasn't enough to make Gao Lutong's face turn red and sweat drip down his forehead. The real reason he was sweating was that Lin Yi's fingers were digging into his arm like a pair of pliers, as if his arm would be crushed with just a little bit of force. "Kid, where did you come from? I admit that I looked down on you before. You are indeed qualified to challenge me. Let me go, let's have a fair fight. I want to challenge you." Although Gao Lutong was having a hard time, he did not think that Lin Yi was very powerful. In his opinion, Lin Yi only had amazing grip strength. This was not a big deal and the impact of his fist was greater. However, Lin Yi did not answer him at all. Instead, he turned to Zhao Xingji and asked, "Is this the guy who broke your ribs?" "Yes, yes." Zhao Xingji looked at Gao Lutong's uncomfortable expression, and he was suddenly full of confidence in Lin Yi, so he nodded. Chapter 2171. What did I do? Lin Yi asked as he looked at Gao Lutong strangely. "The 4 of them?" Gao Lutong pointed at the 4 men on the ground in shock. "They're dead," Lin Yi said. "Huh." Gao Lutong's hand was hurting. He hugged his arm and squatted to the side. When he heard Lin Yi's words, he jumped up like a rabbit and retreated 4 to 5 meters, looking at Lin Yi in fear. "What are you doing?" Lin Yi asked. You killed them?" Gao Lutong asked with a guilty conscience. "No, I left out one word. They're dead asleep," Lin Yi said. Gao Lutong was speechless. "You thought you scared me to death. I thought you were a murderer. But it was good that they weren't dead." He knew that he was no match for the person in front of him. Although Lin Yi didn't admit it directly, it was definitely Lin Yi who did it. What do you want?" Since Gao Lutong couldn't beat Lin Yi, he could only force himself to ask. "It's not what I want, it's what you want." Lin Yi pointed at Zhao Xingji. "You broke his sternum." "Bro, his sternum is broken, but so is my arm. My 4 men also learned a lesson. This matter. How about we just let it go?" Gao Lutong asked. "Let it go? I broke your arm. Your 4 men didn't wake up in the morning and fell asleep again. What does this have to do with Zhao Xingji? Are you stupid? Don't you know how to calculate? Lin Yi asked. Hearing Lin Yi's words, Gao Lutong almost fainted. But he was the weaker one now, so he didn't dare to offend Lin Yi. He could only say, aren't you here to get revenge for him? Isn't that the same as getting revenge for him? I'm here to be a bystander, Lin Yi said. Gao Lutong almost fainted. Then, what do you say? I say you choose. Do you want this to be public or private? Lin Yi asked. Public or private? What does that mean? What would happen if it became public? What if we settle it privately? Gao Lutong was taken aback and asked. I'll beat you up and break your ribs. Then I'll send you to the school leaders. You'll admit that you injured Zhao Xingji. After that, it's up to the school to deal with you, Lin Yi said. How is this fair? Don't you still have to beat me up? Gao Lutong was annoyed, but there was nothing he could do. Then, when the school leaders asked me where I got my injuries, what should I say? Oh, you can say that I did it. However, I will take revenge on you later, Lin Yi said coolly. A threat. This was simply a naked threat. It was the same method he used to deal with Zhao Xingji. However, he was really afraid that Lin Yi would take revenge on him behind his back. What about settling it privately? Gao Lutong wasn't afraid of Lin Yi's revenge. In his opinion, as long as Li Biaohan came back, then Lin Yi was definitely not his opponent. However, Gao Lutong didn't want to embarrass himself in front of the school leaders. If people knew that Gao Lutong was bullied so miserably, then he wouldn't be able to mingle in the school. Settle it privately. I'll beat you up and then you have to pay me 1,000,000 yuan, said Lin Yi. What? 1,000,000 yuan? Gao Lutong thought that his ears had a problem. Yeah, you see, his ribs are broken. It will be difficult for him to walk in the future. You have to buy a car. Moreover, after buying the car, someone needs to take care of it. Lin Yi said, you see, he just found a girlfriend but he was injured. What if the girlfriend's family objected? So, you have to give more money as a betrothal gift. 100,000 yuan to buy a car and 900,000 yuan as a betrothal gift is already a bargain for you. Then I'm not as good as the public. Gao Lutong was speechless for a while. Isn't this Lin Yi too good at talking nonsense? Oh yes, I forgot to tell you. If you choose to settle it privately, I still have to ask you to pay for it. I can't beat you too badly, but once you are sent to school, it has nothing to do with me. So, you basically have to say goodbye to masturbation in the future, said Lin Yi. Say goodbye to masturbation? What do you mean? Gao Lutong didn't quite understand. What does this have to do with masturbation? It means that you don't need your 4 limbs, 5th leg and so on because your hands and masturbation are useless, said Lin Yi. Ha! Bai Weituo and Zhao Xingji finally couldn't help but laugh. Chai Xiaoling blushed, but she also couldn't help but laugh. I'll settle it privately. Gao Lutong took a deep breath. A hazy look flashed across his eyes as he said, I have to call my boss about the compensation. I don't have that much money. Oh, then hurry up and call. Lin Yi waved his hand and said impatiently. Yes. Gao Lutong agreed quickly, but he was laughing coldly in his heart. He knew what Li Biaohan was capable of. When Li Biaohan came back, Lin Yi would have to crawl out no matter how strong he was. He wasn't in a rush. He was just thinking about how to make it sound more miserable. In the outskirts of Donghai City, there was a heavily guarded manor. This wasn't a hidden house's turf, but a branch of the famous Firewolf gang. Right now, the person in charge of this branch was Jiang Wen. Even in Mingyue, who was in charge of contacting the Firewolves in Donghai City, became Jiang Wen's subordinate. Jiang Wen, I'm a father because of my son. And Mingyue laughed happily. I've learned a lot from this hidden house summit. Before, I thought that Housen was a member of the common house, the head of the 5 small houses, and that we were already very powerful. But now we're just frogs in a well. Yeah, but that Lin Yi got lucky letting him win so many matches. Jiang Wen had heard about the summit from his father. He said regretfully, these hidden houses are too weak, even Lin Yi couldn't handle them. Let's not talk about them. Right now we have to avoid Lin Yi as well, right? And Mingyue shook her head helplessly. Those pieces of trash, they held a summit for no reason, and they lost everything, giving all their treasures to Lin Yi. Lin Yi? Jiang Wen's eyes flashed coldly at the name. If he had the chance and the ability, he'd definitely kill Lin Yi. But right now he didn't have much confidence. When the professor and his disciple perfected the 01 medicine, we'll get a few 01 test subjects and kill Lin Yi. Chapter 2172. Naturally, I think it's about time. Jiang Wen nodded. It's all thanks to this hidden house summit. We may have lost some things, but we were able to discover some of the flaws and weaknesses of our 01 medicine. Professor Ian was able to find a breakthrough point from those test subjects. Ah, that's great. And Mingyue smiled. The participants from the Firewolves were all test subjects who'd been injected with the 01 medicine, just like the ones who fought in the arena and robbed banks. The only difference was that these test subjects were slowly being perfected. This was also why Mingyue didn't feel any joy or sadness when she saw those injured. Those who were on the verge of death were sent to the professor's lab as soon as they could to find some flaws and weaknesses in the medicine. What's so good about that? My original plan was to train a batch of 01 experimental subjects to rob the various families in the secular world. But now, the abilities of these experimental subjects are enough to wipe out the armies of those families in the secular world. Jiang Wen said regretfully. But I didn't expect that most of them would join Lin Yi's ninja alliance, making me hesitate. Lin Yi's just too strong and I don't want to fight him head-on before I'm confident. Jiang Wen didn't want to accept this, but he had to face the reality even the Firewolves Earth-class late-phase peak couldn't win against him. Plus, Lin Yi had been in the limelight this time, and Jiang Wen had no choice but to stay away from him. So he had no choice but to change his plan from dealing with the common houses to dealing with the hidden houses and normal sects. He'd have to perfect the 01 medicine, and the test subjects had to be at least Earth-class late-phase peak. Only then would they be strong enough to rob the hidden houses. He'd have to use a few 01 test subjects to stall the Sky-class masters while the others went to rob the houses. That was the only way to be confident. If they were too weak, they'd all be wiped out. Good news when bro, Uncle Lin. It was Jiang Wen's confidant, Scorpion. Big Scorpion, is there any good news? Jiang Wen's heart skipped a beat as he vaguely guessed something. The number 01 potion has been perfected and the new test product is more durable than before. It can at least resist 2 consecutive attacks from an early-stage heaven rank, and it can easily kill an early-stage earth rank or below. It can barely kill an early-stage earth rank or mid-stage earth rank, and it can take down a mid-stage earth rank to late-stage earth rank. As for those above the peak late stage, it can't kill them for the time being, but it can hold them off for a while. Good. Jiang Wen was overjoyed. This test subject is amazing. Yeah, thanks to the professor's disciple for finding the black box after the base was destroyed. There's a note from the professor's mentor in it. Scorpion said. Not bad, get a test subject and test subjects, Jiang Wen said. Okay, I'll inform Professor Yi now. Scorpion said, oh yeah, Li Biaohan wants to see you. He said he wants to treat Master Wen to a meal. Oh, let him in. Jiang Wen said. Yes. Scorpion nodded and left. After a while, Li Biaohan walked in respectfully. He quickly greeted Jiang Wen and Mingyue when he saw them. Greetings, Wen bro, Uncle Lin. Alright, no need to be so courteous. We're all on the same side. Jiang Wen waved his hand, gesturing for Li Biaohan to sit down. Yes. Li Biaohan sat in front of Jiang Wen respectfully and took out an account book. Wen bro, this is the income of the Firewolves in the college town this month. Please take a look. Okay. And Mingyue took the account book and flipped through it. After looking through it, she was quite satisfied. She said, not bad, you have an income of more than 3 million in a month. It seems that you are quite hard-working. Hehe, compared to Wen bro, I'm far behind. Wen bro's speed of earning money is really fast. I'm nothing compared to him, Li Biaohan said modestly. In fact, Li Biaohan's income was quite big. He relied on forced buying and selling in the school, collecting a little protection fee and so on. He could make more than 3 million a month, which was not a small number. Of course, this was not just from one university. In the university town, there were a total of dozens of universities. The boxing clubs of each university were already controlled by Li Biaohan. They were basically doing the same thing. Otherwise, one university wouldn't be able to earn this much. Very good, keep it up. I'll tell the leader about your hard work. Jiang Wen nodded. But you're still a little timid. You should be a little bigger. A little bigger? What do you mean? Li Biaohan paused. Every school has those rich kids, right? You do your research and I'll send some people to help you. Once you're done, my people will help you kidnap the money. That way, the income from a single case would be enough to cover a few months of your income. Jiang Wen said. Wen bro, you're wise. Li Biaohan paused. He never thought of doing this before. First, it was because of his underlings. They could do extortion, but they wouldn't dare to kidnap the money. Plus, there were too many people and it would be bad if they were exposed. But now it was different. If Jiang Wen supported him, he could transfer people from the firewolves to work with him. That was basically a success. There was no risk and the income was high. All he needed to do was to find out who had the money and provide some clues about this student. Good, I like your personality. You're not sloppy and overcautious. You're someone who does big things. Jiang Wen was satisfied with Li Biaohan's reaction. He was afraid of cowards who were afraid of wolves and tigers. How could they do big things like that? The firewolves were an unorthodox gang, even more so than the mafia. If they didn't do this, how could they earn money? But, bro, we can't expose this, right? If it's exposed, we can do one or two, but if it's too long, it'll be hard. Li Biaohan hesitated. I won't. Even if the people I sent were captured, they wouldn't say a thing. Don't worry, Jiang Wen smiled, not caring at all. That's fine. Jiang Wen smiled faintly. Chapter 2173. Li Biaohan's phone rang all of a sudden. He didn't want to pick it up, but it was the vice president of the boxing club. He wouldn't call if it wasn't an emergency. Answer the phone first, we'll talk about the meal later. Jiang Wen waved his hand, signaling for Li Biaohan to take the call first. It's Gao Lutong, the vice president of the boxing club. Li Biaohan said as he picked up the phone. Hello. What's up? Biaohan bro, someone's here? Gao Lutong said in a low voice. He was quite troubled. He was the vice president of the boxing club and he was being threatened. This was going to be a joke. Someone's here? Who is it? Li Biaohan paused. Someone's here to do that? You don't have to report this to me, just get someone to teach them a lesson. But? Gao Lutong looked at his broken arm. Lesson? What's wrong? Does this person have some sort of background? Li Biaohan asked. That's not it. My arm was crushed by him, and the 4 great generals of our boxing club were also mysteriously knocked down by him. Gao Lutong smiled bitterly. What? Li Biaohan was stunned when he heard Gao Lutong's words. Who is so ruthless? Someone from another club? No, Biaohan bro, do you remember that first-year student who told on us in front of the school? Gao Lutong said. Remember, didn't you bring people to beat him into the hospital? What, did he get someone to do that? Li Biaohan frowned. He had investigated that Zhao Xingji guy before, and he didn't have any background at all. How did he get someone so strong? Yeah, that guy's weird, Gao Lutong said. Biaohan bro, he said that he's not only going to teach me a lesson, but he also wants me to pay him $1 million? $1 million? He really dares to ask for that? Li Biaohan get blackmailed all the time and now I'm the one getting blackmailed? Li Biaohan was furious when he heard it, but he calmed down immediately. Little Gao, who did Zhao Xingji find? I don't know. He seems to be a student, but he doesn't look familiar. He should be a freshman, not a member of the other martial arts clubs in our school. Gao Lutong still had this little bit of insight. He knew all the people in the school who could fight but shouldn't be provoked. For example, he remembered ruthless people like Zhuang Niadeo and Right Coiling Tiger. However, this person in front of him was really unfamiliar. But I stole the photo, I'll send it to you. Alright, wait for me. I'll head over now. Li Biaohan had wanted to treat Jiang Wen to a meal to get closer, but something happened to his club. He had to go back and deal with it himself. He hung up and said apologetically, bro, something happened to my boxing club. Oh? What's going on? Jiang Wen asked. It's like this. Li Biaohan told Jiang Wen about how he forced people to buy and sell things at school, including how he taught Zhao Xingji a lesson and how Zhao Xingji brought people to his door. That Vice President Gao Lutong of yours, as far as I know, isn't a golden class yet, but his physical style is infinitely close to golden class, right? Jiang Wen asked. Yeah. Li Biaohan nodded. He's someone I trust a lot. I've been training him. I don't know what kind of opponent he met this time to be this strong. Can you handle it yourself? Jiang Wen asked. Let's take a look at the opponent first. As he spoke, Li Biaohan's phone beeped with a message notification. Li Biaohan quickly opened the message and glanced at the photo above. What's wrong? Jiang Wen asked quickly after seeing Li Biaohan's expression. Bro, this person is actually Lin Yi. Li Biaohan's mouth twitched. He didn't think that it would be Lin Yi. What? Lin Yi? Jiang Wen took Li Biaohan's phone and looked at it. Wasn't it Lin Yi who was here to cause trouble? Jiang Wen's face didn't look too good. Even Jiang Wen couldn't say that he could handle this guy, let alone Li Biaohan. It seems like we've hit a wall this time. Li Biaohan smiled bitterly. Bro, that Lin Yi asked for 1 million. This Lin Yi is a man of his words. If you don't give it to him, the consequences will be dire. Jiang Wen smiled bitterly as well. You really need to take care of this, otherwise we'll be in big trouble. Jiang Wen, didn't Big Scorpion say that the professor's new 01 test subject came out? It can even fight against the Sky class for a while. If that's the case, why don't we send a test subject? That Lin Yi is only an Earth class mid-phase, our test subject is very strong. And Mingyue said suddenly. Yeah. How could I forget? Jiang Wen slapped his thigh. Biaohan, don't worry, I'll take care of this for you. I have the latest 01 experimental product here, it's even more durable than before. It can at least resist 2 consecutive attacks from an early stage heaven rank, and it can easily kill an early stage Earth rank or below. It can barely kill an early stage Earth rank or mid-stage Earth rank, and it can take down a mid-stage Earth rank to late-stage Earth rank. As for peak late-stage Earth rank and above, it can't kill them for the time being, but it can fight for some time. Damn, that's strong? Li Biaohan was overjoyed. Lin Yi was an Earth class mid-phase, and even if this 01 test subject couldn't kill Lin Yi, it could at least fight to a draw. As long as it could intimidate Lin Yi, that was enough. To be honest, Li Biaohan didn't want to admit defeat in front of Lin Yi. Jiang Wen warned him that Lin Yi was strong, but now that there was a stronger 01 test subject, how could Li Biaohan admit defeat? Yeah, the test subject is strong in theory, but if it really can't beat Lin Yi, don't force it. Just pay him money. Jiang Wen was calm. When the medicine is perfected, we'll have plenty of chances to deal with him. There's no rush. Alright, thank you, Wen bro. Li Biaohan was thinking that he wouldn't be able to escape the fate of paying for his mistake, but he didn't expect that Jiang Wen would suddenly get a master to help him. No need to thank me, we're all on the same side. Jiang Wen waved his hand. Big Scorpion, prepare the latest 01 test subject and hypnotize him, make him listen to Li Biaohan. Yes? Big Scorpion walked over and answered. Chapter 2174. There's no rush, we have more important things to do. Jiang Wen waved his hand casually. Not long after, Scorpion brought a dazed Fire Wolf gang member over. This was the latest 01 test subject. Beside the test subject was a cold-looking man. This man was the hypnotist. He pointed at Li Biaohan and said something hard to understand to the dazed Fire Wolf gang member. Then he turned around and left. Alright, Li Biaohan, you can control this firewolves now. We usually call them puppets or test subjects, but outsiders call them firewolves, Scorpion said to Li Biaohan. Thank you, Scorpion bro, Li Biaohan said quickly. He gave the test subject an order, and the test subject followed him. After Li Biaohan left, Jiang Wen smiled. Father, you're really smart. Not only can you test the power of our newest 01 test subject, you can also teach Lin Yi a lesson. It'd be great if we can beat Lin Yi, but if we can't, we can just use Li Biaohan as a weapon. It's not like we'll lose anything. Ah, that's true. I've been with you for a long time and I've become a sly person, and Mingyue smiled. Li Biaohan happily brought the test subject back to school in his Audi Q7. He was a big brother in school, so naturally his car was very luxurious. They arrived at the boxing club and parked the car. Li Biaohan let the test subject follow behind him as he swaggered into the boxing club. As he walked, he shouted, "Who is it? In Donghai Industry University, no one dares to disrespect me, Li Biaohan." Li Biaohan's opening made Lin Yi speechless. He looked at Gao Lutong and said faintly, "Is your boss retarded? Didn't you tell him about the situation?" Gao Lutong looked at Li Biaohan for help. "Seems like you're lying." Lin Yi smiled coldly and ignored Gao Lutong. He turned to Li Biaohan. "You're Li Biaohan? Why does he look so familiar?" "Boy, I know you. You're Lin Yi, right? He's a little famous, but this is my territory. It's not the time for you to behave atrociously." Li Biaohan had a test subject behind him, so he was naturally full of confidence. He hadn't seen Lin Yi's terror with his own eyes, and he had only heard about it from others, so Lin Yi didn't have much of an impact on him. The only thing that Li Biaohan was afraid of was Lin Yi's Middle Earth class strength. He had the strength of a Golden class, which was far from the strength of an Earth class. So before he had a test subject, he definitely couldn't arm wrestle with Lin Yi. But now that he had a test subject to back him up, he could be arrogant. It wasn't that he had a lot of cards up his sleeves, but that he was too ignorant. From what he knew, the higher the level of a person, the more powerful they would be. Lin Yi was only in the middle phase of Earth class, and this test subject could even fight against the Sky class early phase master. What else did he have to fear? Gao Lutong, there's really something wrong with your boss. Lin Yi looked at Gao Lutong sympathetically and said, Even if he wanted his men to die, he wouldn't be so obvious. Gao Lutong, your boss should have given up on you. You don't try to sow discord. When my boss comes back, you're finished. Gao Lutong saw that Li Biaohan seemed to be full of confidence, and Gao Lutong suddenly became confident. You're really stupid. I originally thought that when your boss came back you guys would admit your mistakes and I'll just take 1 million. But now I've changed my mind, 2 million. Originally, I only needed you to break Gao Lutong's ribs, but since your boss is retarded, he'll accompany you. Lin Yi said. Experimenter 01, go. Teach this troublemaker a lesson. Li Biaohan didn't want to talk nonsense with Lin Yi. In his opinion, strength determined everything. As long as he showed his strength and shut Lin Yi up, then the one who would lose money would be Lin Yi. What is a test subject 01? Lin Yi frowned. You'll know soon. I'll let you win. Li Biaohan sneered. Your test subject 01 isn't a woman. How can you let me win? Is there something wrong with your head? It's tiring to talk to people like you. It seems that if I don't beat you up, you won't know how to pay. Lin Yi looked at Li Biaohan with some sympathy. Test subject 01? Li Biaohan gave the order, but he didn't see the test subject 01 coming to beat Lin Yi. He was a little confused. Didn't this test subject 01 listen to my orders? Is he the test subject 01 you mentioned? Lin Yi pointed behind Li Biaohan and said. Li Biaohan was stunned and turned around subconsciously. When he saw it, he was shocked. Hey? The test subject 01 was actually lying on the ground, and it was unknown whether he was alive or dead. What's going on? Li Biaohan looked at Lin Yi in fear. He didn't want to be immortal. He just wanted to die. Lin Yi's lips curved into a mocking smile. What's your relationship with Jiangwen? I don't know when, bro. Li Biaohan denied subconsciously. Lin Yi almost burst out laughing. Jiangwen has such a stupid subordinate. What a tragedy. Li Biaohan realized that he had let the cat out of the bag, but he couldn't change it. He could only bite the bullet and said, this has nothing to do with Wen bro. I'll take responsibility for what I did. I admit defeat. Although Li Biaohan didn't know what happened to test subject 01, Lin Yi was clearly prepared. He even exposed his relationship with Jiangwen. All of this made Li Biaohan depressed. He was confident that he could teach Lin Yi a lesson, but he didn't expect that Lin Yi wouldn't be able to teach him a lesson. You think you can just say that you admit defeat? Let's talk about you first. I'll deal with Jiangwen about the test subject. Lin Yi said, 2 million and then I'll break your ribs. You two won't have anything to do with this. 2 million? Wasn't it 1 million? Li Biaohan said carefully. It was 1 million just now, but I gave you a discount because you were acting tough just now, Lin Yi said. Discount? Why are there more and more losses? Li Biaohan said with a bitter face. Without the 01 test subject, it was impossible for him to fight Lin Yi with his golden class strength, and so he started to give in to Lin Yi. Oh, I gave you a 20% discount, Lin Yi said. Li Biaohan had no choice. 2 million it was. Can you not break my ribs? Then break all 5 limbs, Lin Yi said. Chapter 2175. Okay, the Audi Q7 downstairs is yours, right? Lin Yi glanced out of the window and asked. This? Yes. Li Biaohan wanted to say no, but he was afraid that Lin Yi would get even angrier and give him another discount. He would lose a lot, so he could only nod. Oh, it just so happens that I want money to buy a car for Zhao Xingji. This Q7 can be converted into money. Lin Yi said. Okay, I'll do what you say. Li Biaohan calculated for a while. He bought this Q7 for 1 million, but the model was already old. If it was converted into 1 million, it was worth it. He could buy a new car with the money he saved. Okay, this car looks broken. It's an old model. I'll give you 100,000. There are 9 million left. I'll round it up and give you 2 million. Lin Yi said. Li Biaohan almost cried. Even if this Audi Q7 was an old model, it could be sold for 600,000 or 700,000 in the second-hand car market, right? Besides, even if you said 100,000 then 100,000. You still want to round off the remaining 9 million? Just round it up to 2 million? Isn't this the same as cheating me of a car? What? Do you have a problem? Lin Yi asked. No. Li Biaohan smiled bitterly. He really regretted it. If he knew that this 01 test subject would drop the chain at the last minute, he wouldn't have pretended to be bad *SS. As soon as he entered the door, he probably wouldn't have suffered such a heavy loss. Okay, pay up. Lin Yi said. Okay, I'll transfer. Li Biaohan didn't dare to do anything. He transferred 2 million according to the bank account number Lin Yi gave him. He obediently took out the car key and said, Brother Lin Yi, seeing that I'm so straightforward, can you not break my ribs? Oh, seeing that you're so straightforward, I won't do it. Lin Yi said. Li Biaohan was overjoyed, but Lin Yi's next words made him worry again. You two can fight and break each other's ribs. This? Li Biaohan stared blankly at Lin Yi. Fight? Gao Lutong also had a worried look on his face. Who could bear to fight like this? It would be fine if their ribs were broken unknowingly, but if they were to fight each other, wouldn't that destroy their willpower? You don't want to fight? That's fine too. You guys can hit yourselves. If I make a move, I won't just break your ribs. Lin Yi said. Fight, let's fight. Li Biaohan quickly nodded. Therefore, a strange scene appeared in the boxing club. Li Biaohan and Gao Lutong, the two boxing club presidents, were fighting. Li Biaohan was better. After all, he was a golden class master. He broke Gao Lutong's ribs with one punch, but Gao Lutong wasn't as accurate. His ribs were broken first and his right wrist was broken too. He used his left hand to hit Li Biaohan. After hitting him a few times, Li Biaohan was in pain, but he couldn't do anything to Li Biaohan. Okay, stop fighting. I'll fight myself. Li Biaohan was speechless. He raised his fist, gritted his teeth and smashed his sternum. Peng, his sternum broke. He looked at Lin Yi pitifully and said, Is this okay? Okay. Lin Yi nodded. He could see that Li Biaohan wasn't satisfied, but he had no choice but to do it. Because Lin Yi had already discovered that Li Biaohan wasn't an ordinary student. If he guessed correctly, he should be a member of the Fire Wolf gang. The test subject that fell on the ground at the door had the glazed eyes of the members of the Fire Wolf gang. They were injected with the 01 drug and had the characteristics of being hypnotized. Therefore, it was impossible for Li Biaohan to sincerely surrender. However, the Fire Wolf gang and Lin Yi temporarily didn't interfere with each other's business. Although Lin Yi didn't have the ability to go against the Fire Wolf gang, the Fire Wolf gang obviously didn't want to go against Lin Yi. He brought Zhao Xingji by Weitua and Chai Shaoling out of the boxing club. When they passed by the Fire Wolf gang, Lin Yi lifted his foot and stomped down. He stomped 4 times and directly broke the Fire Wolf gang's limbs. Then Lin Yi pulled out a silver needle from the Fire Wolf gang's body. Although the Fire Wolf gang had been modified by the 01 drug and their resistance and strength had been greatly improved, they didn't have chi protection like the internal practitioners, and they didn't train their bodies to be very strong like the external practitioners. Therefore, a normal acupuncture point could make this person faint. However, Lin Yi still used the silver needle just in case. As for the 4 big men, Lin Yi just used a normal acupuncture point. The Fire Wolf gang's limbs were all destroyed by Lin Yi, so even if he woke up later, he wouldn't have any attack power or threat. Until they walked out of the boxing club's gym, Zhao Xingji and Bai Weitua still felt like they were in a dream. He taught the boxing club a lesson just like that? Moreover, it was them who broke each other's ribs. If this was told to others, they would probably be treated as a joke, but it really happened in front of them. Zhao Xingji, what's your bank account number? I'll transfer the money to you, said Lin Yi. Ah? Zhao Xingji came back to his senses, but he shook his head and said, Bro, you helped me take revenge. I'm already very grateful. This money is from you. How can I accept it? This money is for your medical expenses. It was originally yours. Lin Yi said, besides, you and Chai Shaoling are in a relationship. You also need money, right? Then I'll just take half. If I take more, I won't be able to accept it. This half I'll give some to Bai Weitua and Song Xiaodao. I can't keep it all to myself. Zhao Xingji was a kind person and he wasn't greedy. All right. Lin Yi didn't argue with him anymore. In fact, Lin Yi was in need of money, but 1 million wasn't a big deal. Lin Yi planned to extort some money from Jiang Wen. After transferring the money to Zhao Xingji, Lin Yi threw the car keys to Bai Weitua and said, You 3 have gotten your driver's licenses. This car is our shared car. It'll be convenient when we go out. No way? You're giving us the car too? Bai Weitua was surprised and happy. He didn't think that he would become a car owner, and a luxury car owner at that. Boss, you should drive this car yourself. We don't need it, right? Zhao Xingji also felt that it wasn't a good idea to leave the car for public use. I already have a car. I don't need it. Lin Yi waved his hand. Lin Yi's Grand Cherokee had been modified. Could go anywhere. Lin Yi really didn't want to change it. Chapter 2176. Bai Weitua had gotten his driver's license during his 12th year of high school, but he didn't have a car. How could he not be happy now that he had one? That's perfect. You and Zhao Xingji can go watch a movie tonight. I won't be going. Linny said. Boss, you're not going? It's so boring if you don't go. Also, Meiwei and Lan Xiaoru are in the dorm and she has her own things to do. She comes back late every night and Meiwei and Ling are both out. Xinyan wouldn't be interested either, right? Bai Weitua said. I see. Linny was a little moved at the mention of Xinyan. It wasn't because of the movie date, but because Linny could train during the movie. Linny thought about it and said, I'll ask her in the afternoon. In a single room in the school hospital, Li Biaohan had just had his ribs reconnected. A broken sternum wasn't much to a golden class master, but he was quite depressed about it. When bro, that Linny really is different. 01 test subject, fainting for no reason. But when Linny left, I saw him pull out a needle from 01 test subject's body. Li Biaohan told Jiang Wen everything that happened in the boxing club, hoping that Jiang Wen could help him. I got it. Linny, don't piss him off for now. Stay away from the people around him. That guy's a violent maniac, no different from a madman. Jiang Wen said faintly. All right. Li Biaohan was disappointed. He thought that Jiang Wen wouldn't care about his broken ribs, but 2 million and an Audi Q7. How could Jiang Wen let this go so easily? Unfortunately, Jiang Wen really didn't care. It was as if 2 million and a car didn't matter to him at all. In actuality, it was true that Jiang Wen didn't care about it, but it would be a lie if he wasn't angry. Still, there was no point in being angry. He'd failed to trick Pingzhan back then and had to pay 2 billion to Linny instead. 2 million was nothing to him. Scorpion, get the professor here. Jiang Wen said to Scorpion after hanging up. Yes. Big Scorpion responded and went to call Professor Yin. Not long after, Professor Yin walked over quickly. Greetings, young Master Wen. Jiang Wen was now the leader of the Firewolves gang in Donghai, and the professor respected him even more than before. Professor Yin, Li Biaohan brought the newest test subject 01 to fight Lin Yi, but there was an accident. With that, Jiang Wen told the professor about the needles. Oh, if my analysis is correct, Lin Yi must have used an acupoint technique to knock out our test subject. The professor said after a moment of silence. This is a fatal flaw. I didn't think it through before, but Lin Yi has done us a huge favor. We've wasted a test subject, but we found a flaw in the test subject. My brother and I will continue to perfect it. That's great, Jiang Wen smiled. It's not a loss. 2 million for a car, it'll be the test fee. Yeah, we really have to thank Lin Yi for this. And Mingyue smiled as well. But just as the professor left, Jiang Wen's phone rang. Jiang Wen's face changed when he saw the caller ID. What's wrong? And Mingyue asked, noticing the change in Jiang Wen's expression. It's Lin Yi, Jiang Wen said. Lin Yi? What's he calling for? And Mingyue paused as well. Pick it up. Hello? Boss Lin Yi, why are you calling me? Jiang Wen said passionately. I'm not your boss, don't call me that. Lin Yi said. You're the one who gave Li Biaohan that test subject, right? What test subject? Jiang Wen naturally wouldn't admit it. Don't deny it so hastily. I already think it's him, there's no point in explaining. Lin Yi said. Since your underling is extremely uncooperative with me, and you even provided him with helpers, I've decided to fine you 100 million. You have 3 days to transfer the money to my account, and I won't wait after that. Lin Yi, aren't you crossing the line? Why should I give you 100 million? Jiang Wen wasn't happy with Lin Yi's tone. Oh, don't blame me for not reminding you. If something happens, it won't just be 100 million, Lin Yi said. Humph, I don't have time to listen to your threats. Don't think that I'm easy to bully. Let me tell you, Lin Yi, even if Li Biaohan is my underling, he's already given you his money. You can't just ask for another 100 million. Jiang Wen said. Do what you want, I'll put it on your tab. Lin Yi didn't expect Jiang Wen to pay up right now. This guy never gave up until he saw the coffin, so Lin Yi wasn't in a rush. With that, Lin Yi hung up. Jiang Wen was pissed as well. Fuck, do you think I'm a bank? Asking for 100 million? Did Lin Yi threaten you? And Mingyue asked. Yes, he guessed that I was the one who gave the test subject to Li Biaohan. That's why he asked me for 100 million, Jiang Wen said. Those hidden noble houses are really useless. They can't even deal with one Lin Yi. I was hoping that they could kill Lin Yi, but it seems impossible now. And Mingyue said. Jiang Wen, don't let your guard down. Your position in the Firewolves is too low. If you could mobilize those Sky-class masters, you wouldn't have to be afraid of Lin Yi. I still don't have enough contribution points. Jiangwen shook his head. Looks like I need to hurry up and get more money. Jiangwen didn't think much of Lin Yi's warning. After all, he stayed in the Firewolf's territory every day. No matter how strong Lin Yi was, he wouldn't be able to find him. Inside the school, in a sports car parked in the corner, Yu Panhu was talking to his uncle Yu Jintian. Coiling tiger, is what you said true? Lin Yi doesn't know how to concoct elixirs? Yu Jintian was very shocked when he heard the news. After all, in the Yu family's understanding, Lin Yi was an alchemist. Moreover, Lin Yi had even performed the condensation of alchemy fire at Old Master Tang's birthday banquet. Yu Jintian couldn't accept that he was not an alchemist now. Chapter 2177. He might not lie to Boss Bai but to reveal his own weakness. The Hidden House Summit is already over. Even if everyone knows that he doesn't know alchemy, so what? It won't affect him at all. Right, Jintian analyzed. Moreover, at the Hidden House Summit, what Lin Yi said might not be a lie. He said he doesn't know alchemy, so maybe it's true. If that's the case, we've missed a good opportunity. At the Hidden House Summit, he actually forfeited the alchemy competition that was supposed to be in the bag. Right, Coiling Tiger's last hope was shattered. Originally, he lied to himself and thought that Right Jintian would agree with his deduction that Lin Yi was pretending not to know alchemy. But now it seemed that Lin Yi really didn't know alchemy. Moreover, Lin Yi had no reason to lie to Boss Bai. Just like what Right Jintian said, so what if he wasn't an alchemist? Whether or not Lin Yi was an alchemist, his other abilities were there for all to see. Those hidden houses that had a grudge against Lin Yi wouldn't dare to touch him. So be it. Our hidden house of Yu doesn't lack treasures, nor do we lack money. Right, Jintian said. The only thing you need to be sure of now is whether the information in Lin Yi's hands is Boss Bai's alchemist notes or not. That should be it. Boss Bai admitted it himself. Right, Coiling Tiger said. Unless Boss Bai and Lin Yi are working together to lie, but the possibility of that is very small. That's good. What do you think we should pay to get that information back? Right, Jintian also felt that since Boss Bai had admitted it, there wouldn't be any more problems. The key was that in his opinion, someone with such high prestige like Boss Bai wouldn't lie with Lin Yi. It's very difficult. Right, Coiling Tiger said, this time is different from last time. Lin Yi's vigilance is very high. He doesn't seem to have any intention of playing hard to get. More importantly, we don't have anything that can move Lin Yi's heart. Whatever we can take out, Lin Yi may not even be interested in it. It's also impossible for us to give him a medicinal cauldron. Lin Yi already has a first-grade and second-grade medicinal cauldron. We can't possibly exchange a third-grade medicinal cauldron, right? Even our Hidden Right family doesn't have many of those. That's naturally impossible. Yu Jintian said, a third-grade cauldron is a treasure, it can't be exchanged no matter what. But you're right. This time Lin Yi won so many treasures at the Hidden House Summit. He wouldn't be interested in ordinary things. That's right, eldest uncle, there's still something I don't understand. Since Lin Yi doesn't know how to refine pills, why does he want our medicine cauldron? Also, why didn't he exchange pills with us at the Hidden House Summit? You Coiling Tiger still couldn't figure out what Lin Yi's intention was. Perhaps it's to deliberately make us lose in the Hidden House Summit's alchemy competition. Lin Yi is really capable of doing that. Yu Jintian thought about it and felt that this was the only reasonable reason. Probably, Yu Coiling Tiger said. I'll go test Lin Yi's intentions in the afternoon. If there's a possibility of an exchange, then we'll discuss the conditions. Alright, I'll discuss it with your grandfather. Yu Jintian nodded. After hanging up, just as Yu Jintian was about to pay his respects to Old Man Yu, a very distinguished guest came to the Hidden Right family. He was so distinguished that even Old Man Yu had to personally receive him. Moreover, this guest was sitting while Old Man Yu stood respectfully at the side. Young Master Tian, your presence brings light to our Yu family. Old Man Yu was pleasantly surprised. He didn't expect the person to be the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect, Sky Silkworm Transformation. You're too polite, Old Man Yu. Sit down and talk. Sky Silkworm Transformation said faintly, the Hidden Right family has always had a good relationship with our Heavenly Elixir sect. They have also contributed a lot to our Heavenly Elixir sect. Sky Silkworm Transformation's face was very delicate. He was a handsome man through and through. However, no matter how you looked at him, he gave off a feminine feeling. There was a hint of evil in his eyes that made people not dare to look directly at him. Behind him was a very ordinary-looking old man wearing ordinary coarse clothes. However, even though this old man looked ordinary, he was an expert at the peak late stage of heaven class. It was enough to show how much importance the heavenly elixir sect placed on this young master. Thank you, young master. Old man, you was a little fearful. The old man at the peak late stage of heaven class behind Sky Silkworm transformation didn't even sit down, but he sat down first. This also showed that the young master still valued the Yu family. Last time, the marrow and bone cleansing pill that your Yu family contributed was very good. After my grandfather's verification, it is indeed a rare ancient single recipe. Sky Silkworm transformation said with a trace of disappointment in his eyes. However, there is a prerequisite to refine the pill on this pill recipe. This is also the reason why I came here. The reason why Sky Silkworm transformation valued this pill recipe so much was because it was very important to the heavenly elixir sect. It was so important that it was irreplaceable. For so many years, the heavenly elixir sect had been searching for this pill recipe. Now that they had found it, they couldn't refine it. This was the most painful thing. The recipe for the marrow and bone cleansing pill was only a third-grade recipe. In theory, if the heavenly elixir sect's patriarch, who was the grandfather of the heavenly silkworm transformation, refined it, the success rate would be very high, but he failed. The medicinal ingredients on it were rare, but he still failed. This made Sky Silkworm transformation very depressed. As a result, he couldn't rush to refine the pill. Instead, he checked many ancient books and finally found some clues. In order to successfully refine the marrow and bone cleansing pill, there was a prerequisite. The person refining the pill must be an alchemist with a pure constitution. In other words, only an alchemist who had consumed the marrow and bone cleansing pill could refine the marrow and bone cleansing pill. Although Heaven and Earth Man did not know how the first marrow and bone cleansing elixir was refined and how the person who refined it succeeded without taking the marrow and bone cleansing elixir, this question was like the chicken or the egg. There was no way to verify it. Heaven and Earth Man did not bother to think about it. He just wanted to find a person who had taken the marrow and bone cleansing elixir and take him into the heavenly elixir sect. He wanted to train him to become a powerful alchemist and refine the marrow and bone cleansing elixir. Chapter 2178. But no matter how difficult it was for the Sky Elixir sect, they had to make it. The pill was a huge part of their plan, and they couldn't afford to make any mistakes. Oh, what's the prerequisite? Elder Yu asked solemnly when he saw Silkworm Change's serious expression. Do you have any more of these pills? Silkworm Change asked. If there were more and more than 5 of them, then they wouldn't have to find anyone or train any alchemists. Even if there was only one, it wouldn't be a problem. They just had to give it to the Sky Elixir sect. Never heard of it? Old man Yu shook his head. This bone and marrow cleansing pill was originally called the Pill of Life Extension and Toxin Cleansing. It was circulated in the secular world's auctions. The number that was auctioned was very limited, but the Kong family managed to get one. I wonder if they have any more. Oh? House Kong again? Then I'll have to trouble Elder Yu to contact them. If they haven't taken the Pill of Life Extension and Toxin Cleansing, ask them to bring it over as soon as possible. I'll buy it for 10 times the price. If they've already taken it, ask them to come. If they're above 30, then they don't have to come. Silkworm Change said. Yes. Elder Yu was confused as to why people above 30 couldn't use it, but he didn't dare ask. He just nodded and did as he was told. As for the reason why the heavenly silkworm transformation required one to be under 30 years old, it was also because only those under 30 years old had the possibility of being nurtured into an alchemist. If one was too old, it would not be easy for them to even cultivate, so how could they concoct pills? House Kong. Elder Kong Laikai, Kong Guifeng, and Kong Tsuepu were having a banquet with the Xiao family's 2 brothers. Big brother Xiao Ji, brother Xiao Ben, it's all thanks to you guys that our Xiao family helped us out this time. Otherwise we'd be done for. Kong Guifeng said gratefully as he raised his glass. Because of Miracle Dr. Guan's new product launch, House Kang's reputation and sales plummeted. Now they couldn't sell their products at all. Not only that, they had to be investigated every day. In the end, they had to pay a huge sum of money to the consumers to save the company. The Kong family, who had no money at all, couldn't take out a huge sum of money in any case. However, the Xiao family took out the huge sum of money, so the Kong family was very grateful to the Xiao family for standing up for them when they were in danger. That's right, the 2 Xiao brothers are really returning good for evil. Kong Tsuepu also said, when our Kong family broke off the engagement, you let bygones be bygones. You helped us when our Kong family was in danger. Thank you so much. Our Xiao family is no longer the aristocratic family of the past. We are merely brothers in hardship. Right now, we can only work together to protect the prestige of the aristocratic family of the past. Xiao Ben sighed. Although we all have the support of the hidden aristocratic families right now that Lin Yi is in the limelight, we are no match for him at all. We can only work together and drag out an ignoble existence. When Xiao Ben said this, he felt a little helpless. Back then, when the Xiao family was still an aristocratic family, it was so awe-inspiring. In the end, it had fallen to the point where it was only slightly stronger than an ordinary family. That's right. Back then, our Kong family was also ambitious. Lin Yi, that little bastard. Dr. Kong gritted his teeth at the mention of Lin Yi's name. One day this old man will kill him. Xiao Wangba and Xiao Wangdao, as well as Zhao Long and Kong Mingming, were all guests at the banquet. They didn't have much of a say. However, at that moment Kong Ming's phone rang. "Zhao Ming, what's going on? Such an important banquet and you still have your phone on?" Kong Guifeng scolded Kong Mingming. Although the Kong family wasn't doing very well now, Grandfather Kong still saw Kong Mingming in a different light. This made him very unhappy. "Uncle, it's a call from the hidden house you." Kong Mingming said calmly. "Then I'll tell him that my uncle won't let me answer it? Should I let them call later?" When Kong Guifeng heard that it was a call from the house you, he was stunned and a little embarrassed. "I was just saying. Hurry up and answer the phone. It's more important." Kong Mingming pouted and picked up the phone. "Hello, I'm Kong Mingming. Kong Mingming, I'm the family head of the house you. Let your grandfather answer the phone." Grandfather Yu only had Kong Mingming's phone number in his hand, but he didn't say much to Kong Mingming about such an important matter. Instead, he called Kong Laikai directly. "Okay, please wait a moment." Kong Mingming didn't expect Grandfather Yu to call the Kong family directly. This was a good thing. He quickly handed the phone to his grandfather and said respectfully, "Grandfather, it's a call from the house Yu's family head." When Dr. Kong heard that it was Grandfather Yu's call, he immediately took the phone in fear and trepidation. He said carefully, "Grandfather Yu, it's old Kong. Dr. Kong, there's something I want to ask you." Grandfather Yu said, "Back then, did your Kong family get a pill of life extension and toxin cleansing? Do you still have this pill?" "Yes, we did get a pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but..." Grandfather Kong suddenly smiled bitterly when he said this. "But what? Is there something wrong with this elixir?" "Old Master Yu asked. "There's no problem. It's just that this pill was eaten by a dog." Grandfather Kong didn't dare to hide it and said carefully, "What? You're saying that this pill was eaten by a dog? Your family bought the pill and fed it to a dog?" Grandfather Yu found it a little unbelievable. The Kong family's way of doing things was really strange. "We didn't feed it to a dog. It was accidentally eaten by a dog?" Grandfather Kong said with a bitter smile. "Young master, the Kong family's pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was eaten by a dog. What do you think?" Grandfather Yu turned to look at Silkworm Change helplessly. Silkworm Change didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he heard this result. It's useless for a dog to eat it. It has to be eaten by a human. "Old Master Kong, I'm sorry. It must be eaten by humans for it to be effective." When Old Master Yu heard that the elixir was eaten by a dog, he lost interest all of a sudden. He said faintly, "I don't know if Old Master Kong knows anyone else who has eaten this elixir? Who else has taken this elixir?" Old Master Kong frowned. He didn't know why Old Master Yu was asking about this, but he had a sudden inspiration. He really thought of someone. He quickly said, "My grandson Kong Mingming ate half of this pill. I wonder if it works?" Grandfather Yu was stunned and turned to look at Silkworm Change. Chapter 2179. Old Master Kong, ask Kong Mingming to come to our hidden house of you as soon as possible. I will send the address to Kong Mingming's phone and ask him to drive over immediately. Old Master Yu said. "Okay, I will go with Xiaoming as soon as possible." Although Old Master Kong didn't know what the hidden house of you meant, there was no harm in contacting the house of you. "No need, Kong Mingming alone is enough," Old Master Yu said. The matters of the Heavenly Elixir sect were all confidential. He naturally couldn't say anything, nor could he let too many people come. "Alone? That's fine, I'll ask him to go now," Old Master Kong said. Old Master Yu didn't say anything more and hung up. As for old Master Kong, although he was puzzled, he still hurriedly asked Kong Ming Ming to get ready and rush to the hidden house of Yu. In the afternoon, when Linny returned to the classroom, Wang Xinyan was focused on her book on her seat, and Han Jingjing was also calculating something on her tablet. Linny walked over and put the alchemist notes that Boss Bai gave him on Han Jingjing's table. This is an alchemist's notes, take a look and learn from it. Okay, thank you Linny bro. Han Jingjing put down the tablet and was just about to pick up the information Lin Yi gave her when someone darted over with a whoosh, giving Han Jingjing a fright. Lin Yi, didn't you say that this information can't be shown to others? Why did you show it to Han Jingjing? Yupan, who had just entered the classroom and saw the scene of Lin Yi giving the information to Han Jingjing. He suddenly became excited as if he had been injected with a stimulant, directly rushing in front of Lin Yi, pointing at Lin Yi and questioning. What? You're thinking too much. Lin Yi's hands were even faster, picking up the information on the table and hiding it behind him. He said lightly, I gave her something else, not an alchemist's notes. Lin Yi, you're confessing now, aren't you? Notes of an apothecary? Didn't you tell me that you still had the same information you showed me last time? How did it become an alchemist's notes? Right Coiling Tiger seemed to have grasped Lin Yi's weakness and shouted excitedly, moreover, how did you know that I was talking about the alchemist's notes? I'm just talking about the information, but you're so detailed. Lin Yi, oh Lin Yi, even a wise man can make a mistake. Lin Yi's expression suddenly changed. He frowned and said coldly, so what if you're right? The information is in my hands. I can show it to whoever I want. What does it have to do with you? Hehe, it has nothing to do with me, but back in Boss Bai's office, Boss Bai seemed to have instructed you not to show this information to anyone else. Now that you're showing it to Han Jingjing, what's the meaning of this? Right Coiling Tiger thought that he had something on Lin Yi and said proudly, how about this, one person looking at it is the same, two people looking at it won't cost you anything. You let me see it too and I won't report you to Boss Bai. Oh then you better go. Lin Yi said lightly, you don't have any evidence anyway. This Right Coiling Tiger didn't think that Lin Yi would reject him so directly. He was really smelly and stubborn. He wanted to get the information but he really couldn't report him. If he did, no one would be able to see it. Right Coiling Tiger had no choice but to say, Lin Yi, I'm not looking at it for nothing. Just like last time, I can use good treasures to exchange with you. Exchange? I've seen your Yu family's trash at the Hidden Family Summit. There's nothing that I'm interested in, said Lin Yi. We don't only have those things. Our Hidden Yu family is a big business and we still have some precious treasures. Right Coiling Tiger lowered his voice and said temptingly. Right Coiling Tiger heard Lin Yi's tone and guessed that there was a way. If Lin Yi wanted to refuse, there was no need to say anything that he wasn't interested in. He could just directly refuse. Therefore, in Right Coiling Tiger's view, Lin Yi was actually a little afraid that he would report to Boss Bai. Now that he had shown it to Han Jingjing, there was no harm in showing it to Coiling Tiger. It was just that Right Coiling Tiger didn't have any benefits that could make Lin Yi interested, so Lin Yi refused. What's there? Lin Yi hesitated and asked. If you want to exchange, I can call my uncle and ask, said Right Coiling Tiger. Lin Yi fell silent as if he was thinking about the pros and cons of the whole thing. But the more he thought so, the more Right Coiling Tiger felt that this matter was reliable. If this information wasn't very important, Lin Yi wouldn't be so cautious. Tell me first, what treasure do you want to exchange for it? If it's really something good then... Lin Yi didn't continue but said, you know? Haha, I know. Don't worry, I'll read it myself. I won't say anything. Right Coiling Tiger was overjoyed. He nodded and went back to his seat. Class was about to start. If he continued to stay here, it would definitely arouse Boss Bai's suspicion. Also, he had to discuss with the yellow-haired and purple-haired subordinates, what treasure would be better to exchange for it. Forget it, I'll give it to you when we go back tonight. Right Coiling Tiger is watching right now. Lin Yi said to Han Jingjing. And N Jingjing knows. Brother Lin Yi is going to trick him again. Han Jingjing nodded. Huh? Lin Yi smiled. Han Jingjing went back to studying her tablet, and Lin Yi turned to Xinyan, hesitating. Xinyan, are you free tonight? Tonight? Xinyan didn't quite understand what Lin Yi meant. And if you're free, let's go watch a movie together. Lin Yi said. Watch a movie together? Xinyan was a little taken aback, but then her face reddened. Was he asking her out? Should she say yes? Xinyan didn't know when she started to feel conflicted she had a fiancé, but she had the urge to say yes. Yeah, it's by Weitua's first date with Himeiwa today, and he asked us to accompany him. Linny said. I see. It seems like there's nothing else. Let's go then? Xinyan breathed a sigh of relief, but also a little disappointed, so Linny wasn't asking her for a date, but for someone else. But this reason was enough for Xinyan to convince herself to accompany Lin Yi to the movie. Chapter 2180. And Xinyan's face reddened as she humphed with a nasal voice. She knew what Lin Yi meant, but she couldn't help but blush. Lin Yi naturally had to tell Mengyao and Yushu that he was going to watch a movie tonight. He sent them a text explaining the reason. The purple thunderbolt beast was in the villa anyways, and Lin Yi wasn't afraid of anyone harming them. Missy looked at the message on her phone and frowned slightly. Then she passed the phone to Shu, who was beside her. Shield Bro's going on a date with Wang Fox? Yushu said, surprised. It's not Wang Fox. Don't give people nicknames. Wang Xinyan's a good person. Mengyao didn't hate her, and since she couldn't change it, she could only accept it. Mengyao felt that Xinyan and Lin Yi being together was far better than a jealous woman. So you're saying that Yao Yao is supporting her? Yushu said. It's not up to me to decide. Mengyao sighed softly. She was a little troubled. What? Why didn't he look for a big wife at home if he wanted one? But Mengyao thought about it. Would she say yes if he looked for her? She and Lin Yi had gone through too many things together, and she couldn't let go of that reserve in her heart. She and Lin Yi were more like good friends. They weren't that close, but they cared about each other a lot. Some things were missed, and Mengyao didn't know what to do to get them back. She felt that she and Lin Yi were too close, so close that they could only continue being friends. But could they really only be friends? Yao, what's wrong? Yushu asked, seeing that Mengyao was in a daze. Nothing. Mengyao said faintly. Shu, if you like Lin Yi, then don't hesitate. I support you more than Xinyan. Me? Yushu's eyes flashed with a hint of loneliness, but she smiled. My happiness is with Yao Yao, you know? Once Yao Yao becomes Shield Bro's wife, I'll be his second wife. But do you really think I'd be the main wife? Mengyao retorted. Lin Yi doesn't like me. Who said I don't like him? It's just that Sister Yao Yao doesn't take the initiative. Shield Bro doesn't know your feelings, so he doesn't dare to be rash. Besides, he was your bodyguard before. What kind of bodyguard would steal from a lady? Yushu said, now that Shield Bro is no longer a bodyguard, I think Yao Yao sis has a good chance. It's fine, I was just joking. Mengyao said, backing off a little. Okay. Then let Shield Bro continue dating Fox Wang. It doesn't matter if she's one more. As long as she's not a domineering mistress, Shu can still accept it. Yushu said. Kang Ming Ming ran all the way to the hidden House Yu, but the person who received him was not old Yu, but the current head of House Yu, Yu Jintian. Greetings, young Master Yu. Kang Ming Ming greeted politely. No need to be so polite, Xiaoming, follow me. Yu Jintian seemed to be in a hurry. As soon as Kang Ming Ming arrived, he quickly brought him to a secret room. This secret room was the place where old Yu received the young master of Heaven Elixir sect, Sky Silkworm transformation. Kang Xiaoming entered the room and saw old man Yu. He also saw the unbelievably beautiful trap young master and the seemingly ordinary but extremely powerful heaven rank late stage peak master. Xiaoming greets old master Yu. Among them, Kang Xiaoming only knew old master Yu, so he only greeted him. Xiaoming, this is the young master of Heaven Elixir sect, and this is the fifth elder of Heaven Elixir sect. Old Yu quickly introduced to Kang Ming Ming. Kang Ming Ming's heart skipped a beat. He didn't expect the person in this room to be so powerful. He quickly knelt on the ground. Xiaoming greets young Master Tian, fifth elder. Kang Ming Ming of House Kang, right? Don't be nervous, get up and talk. Sky Silkworm transformation waved his hand and said lightly, speaking of which, you're a great contributor to our Heaven Elixir sect. You gave us the recipe for the bone cleansing pill. That's just something I got by chance, it's not worth mentioning. Kang Ming Ming's heart raced. It seemed that young Master Tian didn't have any ill intentions towards him, so this should be a good thing. Fifth uncle, check his physique. Sky Silkworm transformation ordered the fifth elder. Yes. The fifth elder moved like lightning, grabbed Kang Ming Ming's wrist and checked it carefully. Although Kang Ming Ming didn't see how the fifth elder came to his side, he was still very cooperative. Anyway, there was nothing he could do if the other party wanted to harm him here. It was better to wait and see what they were going to do. The physique is very pure, and it can basically meet the requirements, but there is a little kidney deficiency. In his body there is wood attribute, no fire attribute. The fifth elder reported Kong Ming Ming's physique expressionlessly. There is actually wood attribute? This surprised Sky Silkworm transformation. He was prepared that Kong Xiaoming was a complete idiot when it came to alchemy, but he didn't expect him to have a wood element in his body. If that was the case, one flaming sun pill would be enough to solve this problem. As for the kidney deficiency, it wasn't a problem in Sky Silkworm transformation's eyes. The Heavenly Elixir sect just gave him some pills to recuperate. Yes, there is wood attribute. The fifth elder nodded. Good, very good. Sky Silkworm transformation was very happy. He didn't expect this matter to be solved so easily. He originally thought that it would take a lot of effort. Although Kong Ming Ming didn't know what these people were talking about, he didn't dare to ask, so he waited there quietly without saying a word. Kong Ming Ming, are you willing to become a core disciple of our Heavenly Elixir sect? The fifth elder will accept you as a disciple, and my grandfather will personally guide you in alchemy? Sky Silkworm transformation looked at Kong Ming Ming and asked. Ah? Kong Ming Ming was a little dumbfounded. He didn't expect a pie to fall from the sky, and it was a big pie. Join the Heavenly Elixir sect and become a disciple of the Heavenly Elixir sect? And a core disciple? The most important thing was that there was an elder as a master, and if that wasn't enough, there was also Sky Silkworm transformation's grandfather to guide him. This treatment was much better than that of ordinary disciples of the ancient sections. If Kong Ming Ming worked hard, there would definitely be a seat for him in the future. An elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect, just thinking about it made people's blood boil. Chapter 2181. Otherwise, why would Sky Silkworm transformation accept Yu Panhu as a disciple? Why would they accept Kong Xiaoming? Young Sect Master Tian, may I ask what I need to pay? Kong Ming Ming asked carefully. You just need to focus on learning alchemy. You don't have to worry about anything else. Of course, if you have talent, then your future position in the Heavenly Elixir sect will be unimaginable. If you don't have talent, then I'm sorry, you can only go back to where you came from. I will work hard. Kong Ming Ming's heart tightened as he quickly said. Anyone can say good words. The rest is up to you. Sky Silkworm said. Then, I'll call my family and tell them the good news? Kong Xiaoming asked. You don't have to tell them first. I'll let old Yu inform your Kong family. You are helping the Yu family with something. Sky Silkworm said. You must keep this a secret. Of course, if you have some achievements and become an alchemist that satisfies me, I will let you return home in glory. I will guarantee that your Kong family will become a hidden family that can stand side by side with the Yu family. If you can't hold up the mud on the wall, then you don't need to say anything to anyone. Yes. Kong Ming Ming originally wanted to go home and show off, but after hearing what Sky Silkworm said, he knew that this was probably a secret. If he did well and became an alchemist, he could return home in glory as an alchemist, but he couldn't mention what he was going to do. So if it was done, then everything would be fine. If it wasn't done, then he would have to scram and he couldn't say anything. Alright, since you've agreed, come back to the Heavenly Elixir sect with me tonight. Sky Silkworm said. Remember, when you get there, don't say anything. What I want you to do is top secret. In the hidden Yu family, only old Master Yu knows about it. Yes, please rest assured, young Sect Master Tian, I will definitely do my best to repay young Sect Master Tian's kindness. Kong Ming Ming said quickly. Fifth uncle, take him down first. Sky Silkworm ordered the fifth elder. Yes, young master. Elder Wu took Kong Ming Ming to rest first. At this moment, only Old Man Yu and Silkworm transformation were left in the room. Old Right, your hidden family's performance in this hidden family summit seems to be very poor, said Sky Silkworm transformation. Yeah, I've let down young Sect Master Tian's expectations. Old Man Yu smiled bitterly. No one expected that there would be a dark horse like Lin Yi. Lin Yi? Silkworm nodded when he heard the name. This wasn't the first time he'd heard of this name. The Sky Elixir sect had their own information network and they knew a thing or two about Lin Yi. The heir of Ice Palace, Xiao Xiao's boyfriend. That Lin Yi is too strong and the ancient level doesn't allow us to do things on our own, so... Old Man Yu carefully observed Silkworm transformation's expression. Well, although our Heavenly Elixir sect and the Heavenly Silkworm transformation paused and didn't continue. Instead, he changed the topic and said, however, in the antiquity times, we don't have the final say. In short, before the Heavenly Rank meeting, the least we can do is to avoid trouble. That day is getting closer and closer. If we seize it, the entire strength of the antiquity times will have a qualitative breakthrough. Yes. Old man, you thought that it was a good thing he didn't do anything during the meeting. From what I know, that Linny is only an Earth class. Can't you guys do anything to him? Silkworm Transformation asked curiously. It's true that Linny is only an Earth class mid-phase master, but he has some unique skills and killing moves that allow him to fight against enemies who are a few levels higher than him. That's why we don't dare to act rashly. Elder, you said. What do you mean? Silkworm Transformation asked. Actually, before this, our Hidden House U, and Hidden House Zhao teamed up to encircle and annihilate Linny. Old man, you said bitterly, I know about this. You told us that you guys failed. Silkworm Transformation naturally knew about this, but he was too lazy to ask about the details. He had a lot of things to do every day and he didn't have time to pay attention to a small character like Linny. Yes, we failed, but I didn't tell you the details. Lin Yi killed 3 Earth class masters in one move, and one of them was even in the late phase of Earth class. Old man, you said, just one move? Oh? One move? Silkworm Transformation's expression changed slightly. Killing 3 Earth class masters in one move, even he couldn't help but be moved. He was known as the most talented genius in the history of the Sky Elixir sect. Not only was he good at alchemy, but he was also very good at martial arts. But even he didn't dare say that he could kill 3 masters of the same level when he was still in Earth class, and their levels were slightly higher. Yes, and this time at the Hidden House Summit, Linny also made a shocking move. Old man, you didn't hide anything and told Silkworm Transformation about the battle between Lin Yi and Ma Dashin, as well as Wu Jindao in detail. This Linny is really good, but there is one thing I don't understand. When he fought with Wu Jindao, why didn't he finish the battle in one move like he did with Ma Dashin? Silkworm Transformation was a smart person, and he immediately saw that something was wrong. I don't know, but the whole situation was like this. I repeated the process truthfully. Old man, you actually wanted Silkworm Transformation to understand more about Lin Yi and find out Lin Yi's weakness. According to what you said, the situation is indeed a bit strange. Silkworm Transformation nodded. If you want to deal with Lin Yi, don't do it for now. If it's really like what you said, even if you go in person, you might not be Lin Yi's opponent. Naturally. Old man, you smiled awkwardly. If he had the confidence, he would have participated in intercepting Lin Yi outside the manor. Not intercepting meant that he didn't have the confidence. About Lin Yi, after I go back, I will report to our Sky Elixir Sect's War God Temple Protector and ask him to help analyze the situation, Silkworm Transformation said. The Sky Elixir Sect was one of the largest sects in the ancient times. It was divided into Alchemy Hall and War God Temple. The Alchemy Hall specialized in alchemy, and of course the elders in it also had high attainments in martial arts. The War God Temple specialized in battle and defense of the Sky Elixir sect. The protectors in it specialized in martial arts, but they also knew a little about alchemy, but they weren't authoritative. Chapter 2182. Thank you, young Master Tian. Thank you for your trouble. Old Master, you said quickly. Your hidden house has contributed a lot to the Sky Elixir sect. We can't attack your enemies directly, but it's fine for us to give you some advice, Silkworm said. Lin Yi didn't know that he was being watched by the Sky Elixir sect. In the blink of an eye, it was time for school to end. Lin Yi, Xinyan, Han Jingjing, and Bai Weitua left the classroom together. Song Xiaodao, on the other hand, was alone. This guy had been acting mysteriously lately. It was said that he had his eyes on a girl from another school, and he'd be waiting at her school every day. Lin Yi sent Han Jingjing to the Jeep Cherokee and gave her the car keys and the notes Boss Bai gave him. He told her to wait for the Miss Shu and her brother in the car. Then he went to the boxing club with Xinyan and Bai Weitua. The Audi Q7 was still parked in front of the boxing club's gym. Bai Weitua had He Meiwei, Chai Shaoling, and Zhao Xingji wait there. In the afternoon, Zhao Xingji went to the school hospital for a checkup. Under the amazed gazes of the doctors, he went through the discharge procedures. The doctors were all secretly puzzled. Could it be that obese people had too much nutrition? Even broken bones could recover so quickly? What happened in the boxing club at noon wasn't known to the students in school, but everyone in the boxing club knew about it. Li Biaohan and Gao Lutong had told them to stay away from Lin Yi's group in the future, and not to provoke them. So, when Lin Yi's group arrived in front of the gym, the boxing club members all looked at Lin Yi in awe. Someone who could send Li Biaohan and Gao Lutong to the hospital was definitely not someone they could mess with. This boxing club sure is nice. There's a private parking lot in front of the door. Even our cars have to be parked in the parking lot in front of the school. It's so far from the biology building and dorms. Bai Weituo looked at the big peach sign and the words Boxing Club Exclusive in front of the boxing club with envy. Then we'll stop here from now on. After Linny said that, he pointed at the entrance of the boxing club not far away. It was the lackey who had tipped Gao Lutang off in the afternoon. You come here for a moment. The little brother was about to go back to the dormitory. He didn't expect to run into Linny as soon as he went out. He was shocked. He thought that Linny was going to beat him up because of what happened at noon. He was a little scared. When he saw Linny, his legs couldn't move. He asked with fear, "Brother, did you call me?" "Nonsense, does anyone else here know me?" Linny said. "Yes, they all know you. Brother Biaohan and Brother Gao both told us not to provoke you." The underling said carefully. "Oh, your parking lot is pretty good. Help me tell Li Biaohan that I'm using it. Our car will be parked here from now on." There are still a few cars that need to be parked in a few days. Ask him to help me look after the cars. If the cars are scratched, ask him to compensate me. Linny said. Yes. The underling was cursing in his heart. Aren't you a little too overbearing? Forget about using the parking lot. After all, this is also the school's territory. But you're still asking us to look after the cars. If the cars are scratched, you're still asking us to pay for it. Isn't this a little too much? However, as a little brother, it wasn't appropriate for him to say much. After all, his two bosses were in the hospital. He didn't want to follow in their footsteps. He was just going to pass the message. Whether it was okay or not, it was up to his bosses to negotiate with Lin Yi. It had nothing to do with him. Not long after, Zhao Xingji, Chai Xiaoling and He Meiwei arrived. Li Biaohan's Audi Q7 was a 7-seater version with high specs. It was more than enough to seat 6 people. Bai Weituo had booked a movie theater, so naturally Bai Weituo drove to lead the way. This car is really cool to drive. It's much better than the cars in driving school. Bai Weituo said sincerely, "Boss is really amazing. Not only did you get a car, but now you even have a parking space and a little brother to look after the car. Alright, don't be so cocky. Drive your car properly." He Meiwei also heard about what happened at noon. She felt a little strange about Bai Weituo and the others getting a car for no reason. Linny was actually so amazing? He was really hiding his strength. No wonder such a beautiful girl like Wang Xinyan was captured. Okay. Bai Weituo said quickly. Chapter 2183. He pushed the door open and pushed Bai Weituo. "Do you know how to drive? Are you blind? Do you know whose car this is? I think you don't want to live anymore." "I didn't do it on purpose. Plus, I was about to reverse and you stole my parking space. Otherwise, I wouldn't have hit you." Bai Weituo frowned. He felt wronged by the other party's overbearing attitude. Even if it was his fault for crashing the car, they might not be completely right? Stole parking space? This is a public parking space. Does it belong to you? It belongs to whoever came first. Come in first if you can. It's my fault that I hit you. The other party's owner pouted arrogantly. "Fine, we'll take full responsibility. I'll call the insurance company to fix the car. Is that okay?" Bai Weituo took full responsibility after all. He could only swallow his anger. "Fix the car? Don't you see that the car is new? It hasn't been registered yet. Did you just get the car today? It's new and you want to fix it? Would you do it if it were you?" The other party's owner glared. Then what do you want?" Bai Weituo said helplessly. "My Master Bing's car is new. It's 1.5 million. Take out 1.5 million and I'll sell it to you." The other party's owner said. Aren't you blackmailing me?" Bai Weituo was stunned. He didn't expect the other party to make such a request. "Blackmail? It's fine if you think so, but you have to take out the money." The other party's owner said arrogantly, "No one has come out unscathed after crashing into Master Bing's car. In fact, the other party's owner was blackmailing him. The car's original price was only 1 million. 1.5 million was just a random price." Bai Weituo didn't expect the other party to be like this. "If you're going to be so unreasonable, I'll call the police." "Call the police, do what you want. But I'll remember your face. Don't think about staying in East Ocean City in the future. You still have your friends TSK. The other party's owner said slowly. Linny didn't want to get out of the car at first, but when he saw that Bai Weituo couldn't solve the problem and the driver was trying to blackmail him, Lin Yi knew that he had to get out of the car. Previously, in Lin Yi's opinion, this was just an ordinary traffic accident. He just needed to find the insurance company to repair the car, but he didn't expect so many troubles. You mean you want us to buy this car? Lin Yi looked at the owner of the car and asked. In fact, the other party's request was not unreasonable, but the price of the Qian with this configuration was only about 1 million yuan. He was obviously blackmailing them by asking for 5 million yuan. That's right. 1,500,000 and we'll forget about today's matter. Otherwise you'll be in for it. The owner of the car said arrogantly. However, when his gaze fell on Lin Yi, he let out a quack and was speechless. Lin Yi frowned, thinking that there must be something wrong with this person. Why was he so surprised? However, he heard the other party ask carefully, you're Lin Yi? You know me? Lin Yi looked at the person in front of him strangely. Lin Yi didn't know him at all. The driver cried bitterly in his heart after hearing the admittance. What bad luck! Why did he have to blackmail this guy out of all the people he could have blackmailed? Lin Yi looked at the person in front of him. He didn't know him, but he raised his hand and knocked on the window of the Qian. You're just a driver. Tell your master to come down and talk to me. Let's see what we should do with this car. Zhao Qibing didn't want to interfere when he saw his underling acting tough outside, but when he saw a familiar silhouette coming down from the Audi Q7, he knew that something was wrong. He prayed that his follower would be smart enough to turn a big problem into a small one and leave quickly. He didn't want to argue with Lin Yi, but he didn't think that Lin Yi would knock on the window. Zhao Qibing had no choice but to get out of the car helplessly. He smiled and greeted Lin Yi. Hi Zhao Qibing? Lin Yi didn't think that the person in the car would be Zhao Qibing. Although he heard the driver say something like, Master Bing, there were many people who called him Master Bing, so Lin Yi didn't think that it would be such a coincidence. The reason why Lin Yi knocked on the window was because the driver didn't mean anything. If Lin Yi wanted to talk, he would talk to the person in the car. Boss Lin Yi, this is actually a misunderstanding. Zhao Qibing glared at the driver. The driver was helpless. How would he know that Lin Yi was sitting in the Q7? If he knew, he wouldn't try to blackmail Bai Weitua. He might even apologize and pay him some money. You want to sell this car to me, right? Lin Yi pointed at the Porsche Cayenne. I'm just joking. Zhao Qibing's legs started hurting when he saw Lin Yi. He didn't know if he was suffering from rheumatism. I'm not joking with you. Give me the keys and the paperwork. I'll buy the car. Lin Yi said. Boss Lin Yi, I'm just joking. Zhao Qibing was a little scared. If he sold the car to Lin Yi, what would happen to him? Didn't you hear what I said? Lin Yi looked at Zhao Qibing's legs. Your legs are itching again, aren't they? No. Zhao Qinantine, hurry up and give the keys and paperwork to Boss Lin Yi. Zhao Qibing had no choice but to order his chauffeur. As for what Lin Yi was going to do, he could only resign himself to fate. All right. The driver, Zhao Qinanyu, quickly took out the keys and paperwork, handing it to Lin Yi. I'll buy the car. I'll owe you the money first. I'll give it to you when I have the money. Lin Yi said. Right, you still owe me a few $100 million. Next time you pay me back, deduct this 1,500,000. Ugh. Zhao Qibing thought. As expected, he was up to no good. Buy a car? This was clearly a car robbery. But what could Zhao Qibing say? Even if Lin Yi took the car and broke his legs, he could only resign himself to fate. Zhao Qibing's legs had just healed. He wanted to come out for some fresh air and buy a car for his family. After getting the car, Zhao Qibing hadn't played with women for a long time. He didn't have the chance in the hidden manner, so he wanted to hit on a girl near the cinema. But the moment he parked the car, it was taken away. He didn't have the mood to hit on girls anymore. Why aren't you leaving? Is your leg broken? Lin Yi looked at Zhao Qibing. Go. Go, I'll leave now. Zhao Qibing's heart almost jumped out of his chest. He shivered when he heard Lin Yi mention his leg. Wait. Lin Yi stopped Zhao Qibing. So Lin Yi really didn't know who to give the car to. Of course, Lin Yi wouldn't give it to He Meiyue or Chai Xiaoling for nothing. One car for Bai Weitua and Zhao Xingji was enough, and the only one left was Xinyan. All right. Xinyan hesitated for a while, but she still accepted the keys. So what if her relationship with Lin Yi wasn't clear? She was only engaged to Zhao Long, she wasn't his wife yet. She didn't have to care about what she did she? Why should she be careful? Xinyan, who had always been submissive, suddenly felt a little rebellious. From her point of view, her relationship with Lin Yi was already a little ambiguous, so one car wouldn't make a difference. During the military training, their relationship was even more ambiguous, and they sat together every day in school. If Xiaolong wanted to marry her, he'd marry her, and if he didn't, he'd break off the engagement. Xinyan, why do you look so reluctant? He Meiwei smiled. If you don't want it, Ling and I are waiting in line. Haha. Xinyan smiled calmly and put away the keys. Boss, you're too amazing. I've lived for so long and this is the first time I've seen someone so amazing. You don't need to buy a car and someone gave you a car and two a day. Bai Weidua said sincerely. Let's go watch the movie, it's about to start, right? Linny said. I knew it. Let's go. Bai Weidua looked at the time on his phone and shouted. Bai Weidua had bought a couple package online. It was a couple seat with 3 small partitions and some popcorn, soda and other things came with it. The entertainment places around the university city had group tickets online, and they catered to the students nearby. This movie theater was filled with students. The 6 of them entered the theater and found the seats according to the group ticket. Bai Weidua took the ticket and went to get his popcorn and other snacks. Xinyan looked at the dimly lit couple seats, blushing a little. This was the first time she went to a movie theater with a boy and it was a couple seat too. She wasn't used to it. Sitting with Lin Yi wasn't a big deal. She'd sat with Lin Yi on the train, on the plane, in the exam hall, in the car, in the classroom, and even in the same tent during the military training. But those were group activities and this time was a little different. Xinyan felt a little awkward sitting in the seat, not knowing where to put her hands and feet. There was also a folding door in front of the seat that could be locked from the inside. It was a design that made people's imaginations run wild. Of course, it was not surprising to have such a design in the vicinity of the university town, where there were many universities. Most of the people who came here to watch movies were couples in love. If they did something out of line while watching the movie, it would affect others without concealment, and it would be easy to be seen. Therefore, this folding page was a humane design. If it were normal roommates watching a movie together, they could choose the non-couple seats in the front. But Lin Yi and Xinyan weren't a couple, and they became a couple because of Bai Weitua's group purchase. Actually, it's my first time watching a movie too, Lin Yi said with a smile after seeing Xinyan's unnatural expression. Xinyan paused. You and your girlfriend haven't been here before? Chapter 2185. What about you? Xinyan was amused by Lin Yi's words and the atmosphere lightened up a little. She asked casually, regretting her question the moment she asked it. Why did she ask such a stupid question? My intentions aren't pure, Lin Yi said with a smile. I'm not here to watch a movie, I just want to spend a little more time with you. Just a little more. The first half of Lin Yi's sentence startled Xinyan, but the second half made her relax a little. Was he just treating her as a tool? Was she a tool for him to use? Xinyan's heart skipped a beat when she heard the first half of Lin Yi's words. You don't have to come to the cinema then. I'll study in the classroom after school and you can leave a little later, Xinyan said. But watching a movie isn't a bad experience. I can't get too close to you in the classroom, but it's fine here, Lin Yi said. Xinyan's heart tightened again. Bai Weidua came back at that moment with a bunch of snacks in his hands. They were all free snacks from the coupons. He distributed them to Lin Yi, Zhao Xingji and the others. Boss, Xinyan, what do you guys want to eat? Bai Weidua walked over with a bunch of popcorn and stuff. I don't like snacks, you guys? Xinyan said with a shake of her head. Not at all? Bai Weidua didn't think that there would be a girl who didn't like snacks. You're welcome. I'm not being courteous, I really don't like snacks. Xinyan smiled bitterly. I'll just get a box of chewing gum then, alright? Bai Weidua didn't really have a choice. What about you, Lin bro? I'm not eating either. Lin Yi wasn't too interested in snacks, and Xinyan wasn't eating anymore. How could he eat alone? Chapter 2186. It wasn't the first time she'd hugged him. They'd slept like this during military training. It wasn't a big deal, as long as Lin Yi didn't go too far with his hands and feet. She'd just treat it as a friendly hug. Plus, there'd been worse things that had happened during the training. Xinyan's fragile heart had been ravaged to a certain degree. Lin Yi was just hugging her as expected. He didn't do anything out of line or out of line. Xinyan's tensed heart and stiff body relaxed a little, and she was getting used to it. So, it felt good to be hugged by a guy. Xinyan comforted herself. Marriage, reservations, and whatever. Xinyan threw all that to the back of her mind. She sat there quietly, enjoying the peace. What was that saying again? Since she couldn't fight back, she might as well enjoy it in peace. Hey handsome pretty girl. Wanna buy something? A sudden voice broke the silence, and Xinyan looked at the acne-faced guy who'd popped out of nowhere. She subconsciously moved to the side, trying to put some distance between her and Lin Yi. She felt like she'd been caught in the act. Lin Yi opened his eyes as well. He'd been training in the Jade space, but his consciousness was connected to the outside world. Lin Yi saw this guy's appearance as well. He thought it was someone from another booth who'd gone to the washroom, but it turned out to be a merchandiser. No. Lin Yi said straightforwardly. Don't be in such a hurry, handsome. Let's see. The acne-faced guy seemed to have expected Lin Yi's rejection, but he wasn't in a rush. He pulled out a couple of boxes from his backpack. Condoms, they're good to use. There's luminous ones, spiral ones, super thin ones, transparent ones, colorful ones. We don't want it. Just leave? Xinyan blushed as she watched the guy in front of her take out a bunch of condoms. We don't want it. Just leave. Ugh. Don't be shy, pretty girl. These are the real deal and the quality is top-notch. Lots of couples over there have bought them. The acne guy wasn't expecting Xinyan to flip out like that, but he still tried his best to sell it. Look, there's a lot of couples around here. You'll hear them if they start doing it later. It'd be bad if they get caught up in the heat of the moment and someone gets killed because of it. I said I don't want it. Why are you like this? Xinyan was a little displeased. She was a girl after all, and they weren't even a couple yet. It was awkward for her to be pushed around like this. I got it. The acne guy lowered his voice as if he'd figured something out. Bro, your girlfriend's so pissed off. Are you okay with it? I still have Viagra here. It's super effective. Ahem. Lin Yi was quite troubled, but it wasn't worth it to beat him up. Lin Yi didn't want to waste time with him. He waved his hand and said, All right, I won't buy the medicine. I'll buy one of those condoms you sold earlier. One isn't enough. Bro, you're such a ferocious man. You should at least do it 7 times a night. The acne-faced guy said. Didn't you just say I couldn't do it? Lin Yi was speechless. I was joking. Bro, do you want to buy the combo? One of each, you'll get all kinds of enjoyment. The acne-faced guy took out a self-sealing bag. There was one of each type of condom. All right, how much? Lin Yi asked. 100. The acne-faced guy said. You're quite a scammer. Lin Yi took out 100 kwai and sent the acne-faced guy away. As for the condoms, Lin Yi put it in his coat pocket. He's finally gone. Why did you buy that? Xinyan looked at Lin Yi, a little wary. Would he leave if I didn't buy it? Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. If I don't buy it now, who knows what else he'll come up with? You're right? Xinyan realized that she'd misunderstood Lin Yi. She was a little embarrassed. Why don't we close this folding door? What if there's more to sell later? Sure. Lin Yi was thinking of doing that, but he didn't want Xinyan to think that he was up to no good. He didn't think that Xinyan would bring it up herself. Wang Xinyan was actually quite scared of that guy. Of all the things he could have sold, he had to sell condoms. What an embarrassing thing to do. Lin Yi closed the door casually, and the booth turned into a small private room. There was no light, and Xinyan couldn't help but jump in surprise at what she saw. Let's just think of it as military training in the tent. Lin Yi said. Yeah? Xinyan wasn't as nervous now that Lin Yi was saying she'd been alone with Lin Yi many times already, and there was no need to be on guard all the time. If Lin Yi wanted to do something, he'd have done it a long time ago. He wouldn't have waited until now. Is it okay if I'm hugging you like this? Lin Yi realized that his left arm was still around Xinyan. Lin Yi had forgotten about that because of the acne-faced guy. You're still talking. Xinyan was a little embarrassed. If there's something, move it away. Yeah, I'll move it away in a bit. Lin Yi smiled. He could tell that Xinyan wasn't really angry. Humph, you're so annoying. You want a foot when you give me an inch. Xinyan humphed and closed her eyes, ignoring Lin Yi. Lin Yi smiled awkwardly as he closed his eyes and continued his training. Xinyan wasn't really annoyed actually. If it weren't for Lin Yi mentioning it, she'd have gotten used to the feeling of Lin Yi hugging her, and even forgot that she was in Lin Yi's arms. It was a feeling she was used to and familiar with, and she didn't have much of a resistance against it. Xinyan actually fell asleep in a daze. Perhaps it was because she was too nervous today, or maybe it was because it was too easy to get sleepy in this environment. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was training, and she didn't have much of an interest in it. Xinyan fell asleep. But Lin Yi was shocked to realize that Xinyan's scent was the strongest when she was asleep, and it increased his training speed once more. It was a magical phenomenon that made Lin Yi feel like he couldn't stop it. Lin Yi was starting to miss the military training. It'd be great if he could hug Xinyan to sleep every night, but Lin Yi knew that wasn't realistic. Chapter 2187. Lin Yi had a good impression of Xinyan, but Lin Yi didn't know what to say. Xinyan might think that he was after her scent if he said it now, so Lin Yi might as well not say anything and let nature take its course. Plus, he wanted to find some time to ask Xiao Xiao about the main wife and second wife thing, because he always felt like he had a main wife. Could it be that he really didn't have one? The movie ended in a blink of an eye, but Lin Yi didn't stop. Lin Yi didn't want to give up this golden opportunity. If he accidentally woke Xinyan up, the effect would be greatly reduced. But Lin Yi didn't want to disturb them, and yet someone had interrupted them. Knock knock knock. There was a knock on the door, followed by Weitua's loud voice. Big bro Lin, the movie's over, aren't you coming out? Lin Yi opened the door helplessly, and Weitua and Zhao Xingji, on the other hand, stuck their heads into the room curiously. Yawn? Xinyan, who was in Lin Yi's arms, was woken up as well. She stretched and rubbed her eyes sleepily. Is the movie over? There's something going on. Weitua looked at Xinyan in Lin Yi's arms, a strange smile on his face. Boss, you can't deny it now, can you? You're hugging each other to sleep. Yeah, I wonder if you did anything to waste your energy before? How could you fall asleep watching a movie otherwise? Zhao Xingji had a suggestive smile on his face as well. Nothing like that. Lin Yi smiled faintly and let go of Xinyan. The movie's so boring, we were all asleep. Boring? Was really good. Himeiwa looked at Lin Yi and Xinyan mischievously. Xinyan, do you deny it this time? Deny what? Xinyan was a little embarrassed. Deny your relationship with Lin Yi. Himeiwa said. We're good friends? Xinyan blushed. Can good friends hug and sleep together? Himeiwa asked back. We always slept together during military training, it's not a big deal. Xinyan wanted to explain but realized that she'd let it slip. Himeiwa and Xiaoling's eyes went wide, and Weitua and Zhao Xingji understood. So there was an affair all along. That's not right, you were hiding it all along. Himeiwa said. Alright, the movie's over. Let's go back early. Lin Yi said faintly, not answering. Weitua, Himeiwa and the others didn't think too much about it. They walked out of the cinema and went to the parking lot. Only then did they remember that they had two cars now. Xinyan, you take one and Weitua the other. Lin Yi said. Yeah. Xinyan nodded. And so Lin Yi, Zhao Xingji and Weitua took one car while Xinyan, Chai Xiaoling and Himeiwa took the other. The two cars headed to school together. Boss, you're not a good friend. You don't want to admit it? Weitua said after getting in the car. Let's not talk about me. Let's talk about you guys. How is it? Have you made any progress? Asked Lin Yi. Me. Don't even mention it. I won't even let you touch my hand. Weitua sighed. Looks like I need to continue working hard. Hee, I've made some progress. Chai Xiaoling let me kiss her. Of course, it's nothing compared to boss, Zhao Xingji said. Me and Wang Xinyan? Lin Yi wanted to say that there really wasn't anything going on between them, but decided against it. Forget it, let's not talk about that. Lin Yi got out of the car at the school gate. Lin Yi didn't live in the dorm, so he walked from the school gate to the Shueshang district. It wasn't far from here. When he got home, Mengyao and Yushu were watching TV in the living room, while Grandma Sun was cleaning the house. Mr. Lin, you're back. I'm going to do some laundry. Do you want your jacket washed? Grandma Sun asked. Sure. Lin Yi took off his jacket and handed it to Grandma Sunday. Lin Yi changed into his home clothes, and Grandma Sun took out everything from Lin Yi's jacket. She put it on the coffee table and went to the laundry room. What's this? Yushu looked at the bag of colorful stuff Grandma Sun took out from Lin Yi's pocket. Is it edible? What? Mengyao took a closer look at the item, speechless. Lin Yi had bought this? Super thin? Luminous? Screw? What the hell is this? Yushu looked at the stuff in her hands curiously. Finally, she saw some words on a small package. Super smooth. I know Shil Bro and Wang Fox did it. It can't be that fast, right? Mengyao didn't think that Lin Yi was someone like that. Xiao Xiao, Tang Yun and Lin Yi hadn't even gotten to that point yet. Wang Xinyan, who was just his classmate, had done it? Was that even possible? So it's premeditated? Yushu said. Then you can ask him later? Mengyao was curious as well. Why did Lin Yi buy this stuff? She didn't want to ask, so she gave the task to Shu. Ah, okay. Yushu nodded. After a while, Lin Yi changed into his home clothes and walked out of the room. He looked at the miss and Shu strangely. Lin Yi looked at his clothes curiously as well. The buttons weren't in the wrong places, were they? What are you guys looking at? Lin Yi asked. Shield bro, Yao Yao told me to ask you, what are these condoms for? Do you want to do it with me and Yao Yao in the middle of the night? Yushu raised the bag in her hands. Fuck. Mengyao slapped the back of Yushu's head. Shu, what are you talking about? Why did I tell you to ask? You were the one who said it, let me ask later. Yushu held her head, feeling wronged. Genius, Shu got hit silly. I didn't tell you to say the second half. Mengyao said. Oh, Shu added it herself. Yushu said. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he looked at the two clowns in front of him. That thing you're talking about was promoted by someone in the theater. He wouldn't stop if I didn't buy it, so I bought it and gave it to you guys. We don't want it. Mengyao didn't suspect anything after hearing Lin Yi's explanation. You can fill it with water and use it as a water balloon? Yushu said. Why don't you use it as a balloon? Mengyao glared at Yushu. It's already big, you don't know if it's good or bad. Chapter 2188. Yushu said as she opened the bag and took one out. I like this luminous one, it's pretty flashy. Yao Yao sis, what about you? Piss off. Mengyao stood up and went upstairs to sleep. Oh, I'm sorry Yao Yao sis. Yushu gave the bag back to Lin Yi. I'll let you keep it, I'm going to sleep too. Lin Yi went back to his room and threw the bag into the drawer. He sat on his bed and closed his eyes. However, his speed was clearly much slower than before and could not be mentioned in the same breath. Lin Yi wanted to visit Han Jingjing and talk to her about alchemy, but it was getting late, so Lin Yi decided to talk to her tomorrow. The night went by uneventfully, and the next morning Han Jingjing yawned as she came for breakfast, but she came a lot earlier than usual. Evidently, she knew that Lin Yi was back and wanted to discuss alchemy with Lin Yi. Lin Yi was also looking for her, so he pulled Han Jingjing into his room before Grandma's son finished cooking. Lin Yi bro, I stayed up all night to study the notes you gave me, and although there are some things that I can learn from, there aren't many. It's not as useful as the notes you gave me, Han Jingjing said. I finished scanning, I'll give it back to you later. And the information I gave you before is basically the best. Lin Yi said, don't let anyone see it and don't mention it, especially right Coiling Tiger. Jing Jing knows, Jing Jing isn't an idiot, I won't say anything. Han Jingjing nodded. Right, I've asked White Boss about the multiple materials and this is what he said. With that, Lin Yi told Han Jingjing about White Boss's explanation. I see. Han Jingjing nodded. Jingjing, after a few days I'm going to gather some ingredients for a second-grade pill and try to refine it. Oh right, here's a small chi-gathering pill, take it. After you take it, you'll be able to advance to the early phase of the Earth class. It'll be very beneficial for your alchemy. Lin Yi said as he handed a small chi-gathering pill to Han Jingjing. Of the 3 small chi-gathering pills, one was for Han Jingjing, and one was for Lin Yi to give to the Purple Lightning Tempest Beast. As for the last one, he had not decided who to give it to. All right. Han Jingjing took the small chi-gathering pill and swallowed it without hesitation. She began to circulate her inner force mantra to dissolve the effects of the pill. A pill master's mantra was indeed different from other mantras. Han Jingjing had taken a small chi-gathering pill to forcibly increase her strength to break through to Earth stage, but it wasn't as painful as Han Xiaopa had been. It was as if everything was natural. However, just as Han Jingjing was about to break through, someone knocked on Lin Yi's door. Mr. Lin, dinner's ready. You can eat now. Grandma Sun's voice rang out. Grandma Sun, wait a moment. You guys eat first. Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing. Han Jingjing was on the verge of a breakthrough. Although it was easier for a pill master to break through than a normal person, Lin Yi didn't dare leave. He had to do it for Han Jingjing. If something happened to Han Jingjing, Lin Yi would regret it. To Lin Yi, Han Jingjing was a big treasure. She was a mobile cauldron after all. If something happened, Lin Yi wouldn't even be able to find a place to cry. Grandma Sun didn't think much of Lin Yi's words, but Mengyao and Yushu were curious. What were Lin Yi and Han Jingjing doing in his room? They weren't even eating breakfast? Yao Yao, what do you think Shield Bro and Dumb Jing are doing in the room? Yushu said as she looked at Lin Yi's room. She wanted to barge in. Let's get down to business, Meng Yao said faintly. Say, can we try the condoms from yesterday? Yushu asked. Shu, I think your thoughts are getting more and more complicated, Meng Yao said. Who did you learn it from? Yao Yao, Yushu said. Are you looking for a beating? Meng Yao was pissed. You are marked by the company you keep. I'm with Yao Yao every day. Yushu said. Then why didn't I become as dumb as you? Meng Yao asked. Shu is not dumb either, Yushu said. Just when Meng Yao and Yushu were arguing, Lin Yi's door was finally pushed open. Han Jingjing was sweating, but her face was glowing. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was calm. Their expressions made Yushu suspicious. Shield Bro, what were you doing with Han Jingjing just now? Yushu asked. Breakthrough, Lin Yi said. Ah, you guys broke through that level of relationship? Yushu's mouth was wide open. She didn't think that she was right. What relationship? Lin Yi was confused. Han Jingjing broke through to Earth class early phase. It's nothing, Yushu closed her mouth. Come eat breakfast, I left some for you guys. Meng Yao glared at Yushu. This girl was always messing around. After breakfast, the four of them drove to school. In the car, Lin Yi called Zhao Qikuan, but his phone was turned off. This made Lin Yi's heart sink. Thinking back to Zhao Qibing's expression last night and the fact that Qikuan didn't show up at the Hidden House Summit, Lin Yi had a bad feeling. Did something happen to his follower? But in the Hidden House, the only people close to Lin Yi were him and Zhao Qijiu. If Lin Yi asked others, it would undoubtedly expose their relationship, and if something really happened to Zhao Qikuan, it would only make things worse. So Lin Yi couldn't ask the Hidden House directly. He could only place his hopes on Xiao Xiao of the Ice Palace, hoping that she would be able to get some information from Qijiu. Perhaps Qijiu might know something. But Lin Yi didn't know Xiao Xiao's contact information, so he turned to Meng Yao and Yushu. Did Xiao Xiao contact you guys? Do you have her contact information? Xiao Xiao, we did contact her, but we don't have her contact information. Meng Yao didn't know why Lin Yi would suddenly ask about Xiao Xiao. Then it's fine. It seemed that Lin Yi could only write a message to Bing Shui Town and ask Manager Li to pass it to Xiao Xiao. This was the only contact information Lin Yi had with Xiao Xiao. Chapter 2189. Looking at the caller ID, it was Sun Jingyi this time. Lin Yi picked up the phone. Jingyi? Great thief, I've confirmed the location of Wulong Haut mountain range. Do you want to go with me? Sun Jingyi's words were filled with joy. Perhaps this trip to Wulong Haut could reveal some of her parents' secrets. Naturally, she was very happy. You've confirmed it? How about this, I'll go find you at noon. We'll talk when we meet. Lin Yi said. Sun Jingyi? Meng Yao frowned after Lin Yi hung up. You're going to find her? Yeah, I promised her that I'll go with her to find the mystery of her birth parents. Lin Yi said. Oh. Meng Yao replied faintly, not too happy about it. Shield Bro, Yao Yao sis is angry. Do you like Wang Xinyan or Sun Jingyi? You can't always be two-timing, can you? Why don't you choose Han Jingjing? Yushu asked for Meng Yao. What do I have to do with Jing Jing? Han Jingjing blushed. I'm just learning alchemy from Lin Yi bro. I need something called pure topaz, and it just so happens that Sun Jingyi has a piece of it. It's something her parents left for her. Lin Yi had no choice but to explain bitterly. Sun Jingyi gave this piece of jade to me, but by some coincidence I found an incomplete map in this pure topaz. Lin Yi didn't tell Meng Yao and the others in detail, but since they asked, Lin Yi didn't hide it. The people in the car were all people that Lin Yi trusted. Lin Yi naturally wouldn't hide it. So that's how it is. She's even willing to give you her parents' belongings. Don't let her down? Meng Yao sighed. It seemed that Sun Jingyi really treated Lin Yi well. This was a headache. Xiao Xiao only had one target for the main wife. Wang Xinyan and Han Jingjing were competing, and now there was this Sun Jingyi. It didn't look like it was going to be easy. It's just that she's a girl. It's not convenient for her to go to the mountains alone. I'm just accompanying her. Lin Yi said, it's not as complicated as you say. The group arrived at the school. At the same time, in the hidden Zhao family in the East Sea. Elder Yu and Elder Zhao had a huge argument and parted on bad terms. Elder Zhao told the truth, stating that Yu Huixing was the one who gave the qi-gathering pill to House Zhao, but Elder Zhao was still the one in the wrong in this matter. Even if Yu Huixing had taken the initiative to give it to him, the hidden Zhao family shouldn't have kept it a secret. After all, Such a treasure was an enormous treasure that was extremely rare and hard to come by. Furthermore, the two families were in-laws. Logically speaking, Elder Zhao should have told Elder Yu about it at least. No matter how one looked at it, it didn't make sense to keep everything to oneself. However, this qi-amassing pill was personally given to the hidden Zhao family by Yu Huoxing. Hence, Elder Yu wanted to reason with him. But he couldn't find a suitable reason. He didn't want to waste any more words. The two families parted on bad terms. Zhao Qibing had just bought a car as a reward for his hard work during this period of time. After the Hidden House Summit, he wanted to relax, but he didn't expect Lin Yi to steal his car. He returned to the Hidden House with a belly full of anger. But Zhao Qibing didn't dare hide it. He told Elder Bai and Elder Zhao everything about Lin Yi. After all, Lin Yi was the public enemy of House Zhao, and he couldn't hide anything from Lin Yi. This Lin Yi is too much. Elder Bai humphed coldly after hearing the words. He was famous for being protective of his own people. Once he recognized Zhao Qibing as his disciple, he would naturally protect him. Even if it was the children of House Zhao who caused trouble first, he would still blame it on Lin Yi. You can't blame Lin Yi for this, it's just Qibing's bad luck running into him. Any other hidden house's child would probably end up the same if they ran into Lin Yi. Elder Zhao waved his hand and said faintly, even the fire wolves can't do anything in front of Lin Yi. Don't look at how arrogant they are in front of us. That's true, something big happened to the fire wolves a while ago, and although they didn't say anything, there was news that Lin Yi broke Jiang Wen's leg in front of an Earth-class late-phase peak protector from the fire wolves, and even scammed him for a huge amount of money? Elder Bai nodded. Qibing, so it's not like you're losing face. Of course, if they knew that the fire wolves had lost another 2 million and a car, they'd feel even better. Right, but Lin Yi asked me something. Qibing said, Lin Yi asked me about Zhao Qikuan, and although he said that Zhao Qikuan was his enemy, and that he didn't see Zhao Qikuan at the meeting, I feel like he's lying to me, as expected. Elder Zhao nodded. If Lin Yi hadn't asked, I wouldn't have been sure if that Zhao Qikuan was telling Lin Yi, but Lin Yi's question confirmed it. That's right, Zhao Qikuan is a traitor, and if he gets close to Lin Yi he'll be a huge problem for House Zhao when he grows up. Elder Bai said. Yeah, if Zhao Qikuan really was Lin Yi's enemy, would Lin Yi be so free to ask him? Qibing said, Lin Yi isn't someone with that much free time, he's just a small character. There were so many people in the Ice Palace trial and he asked Zhao Qikuan, that means something. Elder Bai, what do you think? Elder Zhao sighed. Qikuan is a disciple of House Zhao after all, and although he might be friends with Lin Yi, he didn't admit it himself and we can't force him. Head, I have a good idea. Elder Bai said after a sigh. Oh? What idea? Elder Zhao asked. After a while it'll be the test of the Sky Elixir School. At that time we can let Zhao Qikuan join the test whether he admits it or not. We can just let him join the test, that's the best way to solve this problem once and for all? Elder Bai said. The Sky Elixir sex trial? Elder Zhao's face changed. He knew about it, but compared to the Ice Palace trial the rewards were much better, but it was also much more dangerous. And so, many hidden houses would rather participate in the Ice Palace trial than the Sky Elixir one. Chapter 2190. Of course, there were those who were lucky enough to complete the mission and come back with great rewards from Sky Elixir. Third level elixir. They could choose any third level elixir from the Sky Elixir sect. This reward was enough to make all the noble houses go crazy, but it was too dangerous. They couldn't just send their core disciples to the test, and if they died they'd lose everything, not even the elixir. After all, the number of people who could get elixirs was very few, and so all these years, the disciples who went to the Sky Elixir sect were either the bastard children of the house, afraid that they'd threaten the position of the head of the house, or they weren't of the same surname. If they died then so be it. But if they succeeded they'd get a lot of glory and rewards. Since we've already chosen Zhao Qibing to be the next head of the house, if Qikuan is still here he'll always be a problem. Elder Bai said. Alright, I'll find a chance to talk to Qikuan. Old Zhao sighed. Qikuan was his grandson after all. He didn't have high hopes for him, but he didn't want anything to happen to him. If it weren't for Qikuan telling Lin Yi about the Hidden House Summit, old Zhao wouldn't have made the decision to send him away. Actually, you don't have to be troubled, head of the house. A while ago we talked about this Sky Elixir test, and Qikuan was actually quite enthusiastic about it. Elder Bai said faintly. He knows his position in the house, and he knows that if he wants to get promoted, he has to keep making contributions. So we're sending him to the test, and that's what he wants. All right? Old Zhao finally made up his mind. Chikuan was very troubled. He didn't think that he'd be caught red-handed by Qibing just calling Lin Yi. There was no way he could defend himself from the call records. What reason did he have to call Lin Yi? Chikuan didn't think that even if he made up a story, Elder Bai and Old Zhao would see through it. And so Chikuan felt that he was very unlucky he had been hiding House Zhao. If he wanted to have a say in House Zhao, he had to find another way. In this hidden house meeting, he secretly saw that Lin Yi was representing House Han, and he wanted to tell Lin Yi that Zhao Qibing's car was modified. But before they could spread the news, Qibing and Elder Bai caught them in the act. And so, Chikuan was locked up. He was worried, but there was nothing he could do. All of his communication devices had been taken away, so it was impossible to contact him even if he wanted to. Lin Yi saw Xinyan's Porsche Cayenne in the parking lot when he arrived at school. The damage was still there, and it seemed that Xinyan hadn't had time to get it fixed. However, Bai Weidua's Audi Q7 didn't stop there. Lin Yi guessed that he might have heard it from downstairs of the boxing club. He walked with Han Jingjing to the biology department's teaching building. Similarly, just like last time, he was stopped by Right Coiling Tiger, Yellow Hair and Purple Hair on the way. I say, Right Coiling Tiger, why are you doing this again? What do you want this time? Lin Yi could guess what Right Coiling Tiger was thinking, but he didn't show it on his face. Ha, Lin Yi, I have something to say to you. Actually, I want to make a deal with you. You know what I mean. Some things can't be said in the classroom. If Boss Bai hears it, it won't be good for either of us. Right Coiling Tiger said. What? You're not thinking about that information again, are you? Lin Yi smiled coldly. There's no way I'm going to trade with you this time. Don't even think about it. Don't? Let's talk. Right Coiling Tiger saw that Lin Yi was so determined. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that this was the real deal. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't be so determined. He'd be playing hard to get. I don't have anything good to say to you. Lin Yi said indifferently. Lin Yi, there's a good saying. In this world, there's nothing that can't be bought. It just depends on whether you have enough chips. Right Coiling Tiger said, even if you don't want to listen to my chips, don't be in such a hurry to reject me. Not interested. After saying that, Lin Yi pushed Right Coiling Tiger away and was about to leave with Han Jingjing. Wait. Right Coiling Tiger panicked. 5 second-grade pills, how about it? Is that enough chips? No. Lin Yi said. Lin Yi, don't be so ungrateful. I already know that you aren't an elixir refiner at all. You must be in urgent need of elixirs. 5-second level elixirs, think about it, it's priceless. Pan Hu said. Are you retarded? If I lacked pills, I had plenty of chances to exchange for them during the Hidden House Summit. Why wouldn't I? Lin Yi asked. Didn't you purposely make me raise the conditions of the competition to create the illusion that you're an alchemist? Right Coiling Tiger said. You're thinking too much. Lin Yi said indifferently, I've won so many competitions, one more doesn't matter. Plus, I didn't even win. Don't you want the lesser Qi gathering pills? How about 5 small Qi gathering pills? Right Coiling Tiger said, it can let the people around you break through to Earth class. That's my bottom line. 5 lesser Qi gathering pills? What's the difference between 5 second-grade pills and 5 second-grade pills? Lin Yi looked at Right Coiling Tiger mockingly. Alright, stop playing word games. I don't have time, I'm going to school. You can play by yourself. After Lin Yi said that, he left with Han Jingjing, leaving Right Coiling Tiger to complain angrily, fuck, not even 5 second-grade pills? Young Master Right, Lin Yi didn't hold back this time, nor did he pretend. I'm guessing that the information in his hands is very important. Otherwise he would not be tempted. After all, if he shows us the information, we'll get 5 lesser Qi gathering pills for nothing. Yellow Hair said. That's right. I think Lin Yi thinks that we don't have enough chips. Purple Hair also said. I'll discuss it with Uncle again. Right Coiling Tiger had no choice but to take out his phone and call his uncle. Hidden in the right house, after Kong Ming Ming left, Right Jintian carefully walked into the secret room where the Sky Silkworm transformation was located with an antique medicinal cauldron. Right Jintian greets young Master Tian. Right Jintian respectfully bowed to the Sky Silkworm transformation, then carefully said to Old Man Yu, Father, I've brought that treasure. All right, young Master Tian and Fifth Elder, please take a look and see what this medicinal cauldron is. Old Man Yu nodded. Chapter 2191. Oh, this medicine cauldron looks a little special. Silkworm Transformation's eyes lit up slightly as he took the medicine cauldron and examined it carefully. However, as he examined it, he frowned. After a while, he said in disappointment, "This medicine cauldron is damaged." "Fifth uncle, what do you think?" Young sect master said that it is damaged. Naturally, it can't be wrong. The fifth elder took the medicine cauldron from Silkworm Transformation's hands and examined it carefully for a long time before returning it to Yu Jintian. "This medicine cauldron is a good medicine cauldron. It should be an item from the ancient times or even the primordial times, but it has cracks and is damaged. It can't be used for alchemy, then? Can't it be repaired?" Yu Jintian was a little disappointed when he heard Silkworm Transformation and the fifth elder's evaluation. "No?" Fifth elder shook his head and said, "Now that the way of forging has been lost, this is also the reason why our heavenly elixir sect can make first-grade and second-grade medicine cauldrons but not third-grade medicine cauldrons." "But can't it be repaired even if it can't be forged?" Yu Jintian asked. "Repairing? Repairing isn't easier than forging." The fifth elder said, "Legend has it that one needs to have the three attributes of metal, fire, and wood in order to learn blacksmithing. As for blacksmithing, one needs to have both the metal and wood attributes at the same time. The path of blacksmithing has been passed down in the world, but there is only the path of blacksmithing. There is no matching mental cultivation method. Metal restrains wood, so ordinary mental cultivation methods cannot be practiced at the same time. Therefore, this medicine cauldron of yours is actually of no value. In terms of value, it can only be regarded as an ornamental object." "I see." Yu Jintian felt a heartache. He had bought this thing from an antique collector at a high price. Because that person was a collector and did not easily sell his collection, Yu Jintian had spent dozens of times more than the market price to buy this medicine cauldron. He had also paid a lot of other prices. In the end, it was just an ornamental object, which made him regret it. If he had known this would happen, he would not have spent so much money to buy it. Yu Jintian did not have a hobby of collecting antiques. Moreover, even if he did collect antiques, wouldn't he be stupid to buy antiques at this price? He had a good plan previously. He wanted to give this thing to Silkworm Transformation to gain a good impression for the Yu family. But now it seemed that the Heavenly Elixir sect didn't want it at all. "Yu Jintian, I appreciate your kindness. I won't mistreat you for working so hard for our Heavenly Elixir sect." Silkworm Transformation naturally understood Yu Jintian's thoughts and comforted him. "Thank you, young sect master Tian." Yu Jintian was delighted when he heard Heavenly Silkworm Transformation's affirmation. "All right, Jintian. You can leave first." Old Master Yu was also a little disappointed. Although he got a verbal affirmation of the Sky Silkworm Transformation, this thing was not taken seriously by others. The Yu family bought a piece of junk at a high price, which made him a little depressed. "Yes." Yu Jintian turned around and retreated. Just as he walked out of the secret room, his phone rang. Yu Jintian picked up the phone and saw that it was Yu Panhu, so he quickly picked up the phone. "Hello? Coiling Tiger, how is it? Did you get it?" "Eldest uncle. This time that Lin Yi seems to be very vigilant. I offered him 5 second-grade elixirs, and they were all small chi-gathering elixirs, but he didn't want them all. He turned around and left." Yu Panhu said with a bitter smile. "What does he mean? Does he think that the chips are too little, or he doesn't want to exchange with you at all?" Yu Jintian asked. "He doesn't really want to exchange, but since he showed it to others and I forced him, he should be able to exchange. Moreover, when I mentioned the chips, he also stopped in his tracks. After listening to me, he refused." "Right," Coiling Tiger said. "In that case, it must be that the chips we offered are not enough." Yu Jintian pondered for a moment and said, "How about this? You give him another supreme-grade ancient medicine cauldron and see if he wants to exchange." "Supreme-grade ancient medicine cauldron? Do we have such things in our family? Even if we do, we can't exchange it with Lin Yi." Yu Panhu said subconsciously after being stunned for a moment. "Of course we do. Do you remember the medicine cauldron I bought from an antique collector previously?" Yu Jintian said as he raised the medicine cauldron in his hand. "Oh, I remember, but that medicine cauldron, didn't you say that it was to be given to the people above us?" Yu Panhu didn't directly say the name of the Heavenly Elixir sect. After all, he was in school, so it was better to avoid it. "Sigh." Yu Jintian sighed and said, "That medicine cauldron is a good thing, but the Heavenly Elixir sect can't repair it. Therefore, that medicine cauldron is like a waste and can only be used as an ornament. It can't be, right?" Yu Panhu pondered for a moment and said, "All right, then give it to me. I'll bluff Lin Yi." That fool doesn't seem to know much about alchemy, let alone having any great knowledge. Maybe he thinks that he can repair it so he can get a bargain. And that's what I mean. That Lin Yi naturally doesn't have the knowledge of the heavenly elixir sect. You can bluff him and exchange this medicine cauldron for something useful to our family. Yu Zhentian said, the alchemist's notes are more useful than this medicine cauldron. I understand. How about this, uncle, take a picture of the medicine cauldron and send it to me? Lin Yi is someone who won't release the eagle without seeing the rabbit. Even if I tell him without telling him, he might not believe me, Yu Panhu said. Alright, I'll send it to you now. Yu Zhentian nodded and said. Lin Yi and Han Jingjing came to the classroom. Seeing that Yu Panhu didn't follow, Han Jingjing said, Brother Lin Yi, can't you return this information to Yu Panhu and exchange it for something good? Yes, but the things he gave are too little and they aren't of much use to us, Lin Yi said. I already have 3 small qi-gathering pills. Any more is useless. Then, can I ask him for some materials to refine second-grade elixirs? Han Jingjing hesitated and said, although Jingjing's family is also doing business and has some connections with medicine, ordinary medicinal materials can be purchased, but the medicinal materials for second-grade medicinal pills are not easy to collect. Okay, what materials do you want? You make a list, I'll ask him for it. Lin Yi nodded and said. Really? Brother Lin Yi, you are so good to Jingjing. Han Jingjing was a little excited after listening. She was worried about finding the refining materials for second-grade medicinal pills, and Yu Panhu came to her door. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.